Kind of did that on purpose because I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it was nice waking up to fights on the West Coast. It was like 8:30 a.m. over here
Oh
when they were
yeah,
started, which is the same time zone as Las Vegas. So that's what time they were fighting at, which is pretty wild to
yeah,
think about. But this is Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 42. Ironically enough, Harrison just sent me a 42 Doug song right before this to
yes,
listen to. So
sir.
there's them 42 vibes in the air. I think shout out Jackie Robinson. I'm pretty
Jackie
sure he was
Robinson, yeah,
42.
the most famous 42 ever for
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
So, but yeah, we're gonna cover Fight Night Vettori Holland, and we were just talking before camera. I wanted to get into it on camera about how we're kind of over the whole Vegas 97.35. We're just gonna call it Fight Night Vettori Holland. You'll have to excuse my dabbing partner over there. I'm about to have to get my head right as well. But we yeah, like I said, whenever all this first started, they first started on the Apex fight. I actually didn't like that the whole fight night name. I thought that was too convoluted. But
Yeah, me,
but
yeah.
it made sense. UFC Vegas 6, UFC Vegas 7. Like, okay, that's nice and clean and concise.
So you
And
were with it at first. You actually were
at
with it.
first I was totally on board, but it just
Oh,
I've just changed. Like, we're at Vegas 27, or I literally don't even know. I'm like Chael Sonnen with the rankings. I literally couldn't tell you what we were at, but I'm sure there's somewhere. As Chael said, I'm sure there's somewhere you can look that stuff up. But I don't have the slightest. I don't have the slightest idea where one would find that information. But yeah, yeah, we're talking Fight Night Vettori Holland. And man, a deep card last night, 90 million prelims, especially coming off of that one card on Wednesday, which was just clear, concise, straight to the point,
six
star after
fights,
star.
four MMA, a kickboxing, a Muay Thai. I'll be honest, man. After watching the one championship card, like UFC kind of has some competition, bro. I'm not even capping.
Seriously, like, I didn't want to like focus on that like solely, but it was really hard to like ignore the differences in presentation, the difference in like card length specifically.
Card length is the most like it's the biggest difference, hands down, like far and away. Because
Yeah, man.
the fact that one's going to give us like a whole card in like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then I just realized yesterday, dude, like 7 hours of my day was UFC yesterday.
No, seriously, it was like a full school day, bro. Like 8 to 3. Like, that's a school day. Like that's literally like a school day, or like a work shift, bro. Like a 8 to 3, yeah. No, we put in the time yesterday, which I know it sounds like we're complaining. It's like, oh well, like, isn't that what you want to be doing? No, it is. But like just to like put it in comparison to other sports, like people, a big talking point in the MLB amongst baseball fans is like length of games, and like 4 hours is considered like a really long baseball game. They consider it like bad for the sport. Like, they say it loses viewership, it loses appeal with the younger audience that has a very they call us the microwave generation. I include us in that. You know, we're 26.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm about to turn 27, and yeah, so I'm just saying 7 hours is a lot to do anything. Like, I wouldn't want to have sex for 7 hours. Like, it's like 7 hours is a long time to do like anything, even if it's like something you really enjoy. Like, I don't want a 7 hour blowjob, bro. Like, I don't like 7 hours is too long for almost anything in life.
You know what? Quick side note: I had a girl I used.
I had
to
a
work
7 hour blowjob one time. No, I thought that's where you're going.
Is that a mimosa?
It is a mimosa.
Shout
man.
out to a mimosa. You know what I'm saying? 10 in the morning on the West Coast. You deserve it. Meanwhile, I'm out here on the Knob Creek 100 proof small batch.
Oh yeah,
It's,
blame it on the
noon,
time
10.
zones, baby.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. But yeah, I had a girl one time talk about, she was making a joke like, oh yeah, I could give like an hour-long blowjob. And I looked at her and I was like, you don't think you're doing something wrong if it lasts an hour? You know what I'm saying?
Speaking on the same topic, there's an E40 song. There's an E40 song where he's like, I bet the baddest bitch in the world, he raps like that. I bet the baddest bitch in the world can suck my dick and I won't come. And it's like, dog, I think you need some Blue Chew or something, dog. Like, the baddest bitch in the world can suck your dick and you won't come. Like, I think that's a clinical disorder, dog. Like, I don't know if that's just not being a quick buster. Like, I don't know if that's like, I think that's like, you don't have to worry about being a minute man at that point. Just
I mean, yeah,
climax, homie.
It's like if you can't bring a car to the race, you can't start the race. So, you know what I mean? You ain't got to worry about the finish line. But
But yeah,
Yeah.
this is the blowjob breakdown here on Oh man, but
Oh
no, we're
man.
having fun. But no, man, we can dive into these early prelims. I'm about to take this little dab, and then but go ahead and introduce Impa Kasanganay and Sasha Palatnikov.
Yeah, for sure. So this was actually super interesting to me, man, because this fight takes place at 170, which the last time we saw Impa Kasanganay out, he was at 185 fighting Joaquin Buckley, getting his face kicked off of his head, or off his shoulders, I should say. And the viral knockout that everyone knows, just he's the victim. But
Yeah, we've covered it ad nauseum.
Oh yeah, but he was also thick for 85, so I was really surprised to see that he could go to 70, but he looked shredded at 70, and he was the minus 305 favorite fighting Sasha Palatnikov, who's plus 230. Now Palatnikov looked good in his last fight out too. Has some nice hands. Usually throws straight down the center.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was shocked to see how favored Kasanganay was over Palatnikov. They're both coming off losses, but Kasanganay was actually obviously considerably worse. But I guess the UFC just chalked it up, or not even the UFC, but the odds makers chalked it up as just kind of a fluky situation that Kasanganay got caught. It's not like he got, dominated for 3 rounds. And
yeah, to be fair, he wasn't like getting dominated. I mean, he was losing the fight, I think, but
he wasn't
like to your point, it was a good fight, and Palatnikov's last fight was good too.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So this was a cool matchmaking. 2 guys coming up a loss, 2 guys, with still promising futures, but coming off a big time L. And but yeah, like you said, Kasanganay was the heavily favorite. It was nice for me to see the UFC. It's hard to say like Palatnikov's a favorite, like he's a good fighter, but regardless of what happened, he was favored by minus 305. So it's kind of like the UFC kind of threw him a solid after eating one for the team essentially, because the UFC made a lot of money off that viral highlight, got a lot of free publicity off that. Like Kasanganay essentially scratched the UFC's back with his chin, and I think they scratched his back in return.
It's exactly how I feel. Like it's exactly right. Like,
but I'm not mad at it. Like I was actually very happy to see it. Like if they would have given Kasanganay a fucking young lion, I would have been like, oh man, this guy's gotten a tough shake. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's just the business of it. You know what I mean? Like at a point, you can't just give him wolves after he gets like virally KO'd, because you're not just trying to set a guy up for KOs. Like that's not how you build a brand at a point. So yeah, the UFC's trying to keep him in. He's also a Dana White Contender Series guy, so like they love to ride that train if the guy's hot. If he's not, you notice they didn't say anything about it in this fight.
Yeah,
coming off an L, we can't talk about that. But if they're winning, they're a DWCS guy.
They're gonna beat that dead horse.
But I mean, diving into the fight, just off the rip before it even started, I thought Kasanganay looked way more like physically imposing than Palatnikov.
Yeah, and I don't think Kasanganay is the tallest welterweight. So I mean, he definitely wasn't the tallest middleweight. So it kind of made sense that he moved down to welterweight. That probably was a good move for him. Round 1, Kasanganay came out looking good, man. He had the takedown. He was landing some big shots, which Kasanganay is known for his power. So it's real important for him to find a way. He was kind of using the grappling as a threat to like then set up his big shots up top, which is a tried and true MMA tactic, and he was implementing it, very nicely. I thought he, 10-9 Kasanganay round 1, and then
I thought it was a 10-9, but it wasn't a lot of damage really.
You're right.
I thought he was landing some good shots, but realistically, it wasn't like neither guy did much damage. I really just thought it was more control in the takedown and the little bit of damage that Kasanganay did.
Yeah, exactly. He definitely, while it wasn't the most, it was more than Palatnikov did to him. So I thought it was pretty easy to score. And then, but in round 2, we end up not needing the scorecards. Kasanganay actually gets the submission by rear naked choke, which was cool. It was really cool to see him get not only just the win, but the finish after being so famously finished and handling it with such grace. Like he took that like viral L about as well as a man could take it. And it was nice to see him get the submission victory. It really was. Yeah. And he's known for power in his hand and kind of being a knockout swing for the fences guy. So to get a submission victory, it kind of helps him, look a little more well-rounded. I think this is good for his career. And like I said, after what happened, I'm happy for him.
Apparently he switched camps and went to ATT. First time was this fight. He's going to stay there now. But I think that looked to be a really good change for him. I think
Yeah.
he said himself after the fight that he had better training partners, which is no diss to where he came from. He noted that as well. Like,
Yeah.
shout out to that place, but he just needed more diversity of training partners, which at ATT, world class gym like that, you're going to get all the partners on earth that you need. So
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
he looked
Yeah.
really good, like improved skills. And at 170, he is way more dangerous than at 185.
Yeah, he's definitely dangerous, and it seems like he's worked on his wrestling, and because, like I said, he already has the natural power in his hands. I mean, hopefully, he because, like I said, I think Palatnikov's a good fighter. While he was heavily favored, I think that's a good win for him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next for him, but we'll keep it pushing. So that was the early prelims, the one fight early prelims.
Yeah. Oh God, it made me so mad.
I think the regular prelims had like 7 fights on them though, so it's like I guess they they didn't want to make it 8. Like, oh yeah, that's where we draw the line.
Oh yeah, 7. That's what I was gonna say. We draw the line
Yeah.
at 7. Huh?
Yeah. I feel you. It still seems super ridiculous. Like I said, it seems even more ridiculous coming off of just the crisp delivery of that one card on Wednesday. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing to the prelims because this was actually a really interesting, good fight. This is one of the fights that like I had circled. Like I don't always publicize them. Sometimes I do, but I kind of try to do my own version of the if you don't know now you know, like that Dana White does. Like I look at the card, like try to circle a couple fights that I'm looking forward to, some fights that I think will be heaters, and this one jumped off to me as a fight I thought was going to be a good one.
Well, I mean, it was good for one guy. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. And what didn't turn out to be as competitive as I thought it was going to be, which I was a little shocked, but not really. William Knight, when you're built like that, you're going to gas out, and that's essentially what happened. He gassed out and got beat up. He did survive, though. Did he? Yeah, I think he survived all 3 rounds. He went the distance, but yeah.
Made it the distance, but, I mean, diving into it, it's a 205. Favorite ref, Mark Smith. Shout out.
Yeah.
Daun Jung, -140, the Iron Turtle. Love that nickname. Love that nickname a lot.
He's undefeated. Technically, he has one draw.
True.
But,
True.
yeah, so.
And then he's fighting William Knight, as you noted. He's +110. I think for William Knight, man, is like he's so short and so stacked.
Yeah.
But like I don't know why his wrestling is not. It's just not good. Like for him to be that like physically strong, it looks like it's amazing that he gets taken down as easy as he does.
Yeah. And it's just
I mean,
like,
the same takedown got hit 6 times in this fight. Like it was to the point where we were watching it. DC was like calling it. Dominic Cruz was like calling it. I was sitting on my bed laughing about it.
No, yeah, seriously. Everybody in the gym, everybody watching on TV knew what was coming, and he just had no answer, no counter. His wrestling did look horrible. His takedown defense looked horrible. And just it's so pointless to be that buff. Like, he's built like an action figure. Like, biceps don't help you, like, literally at all. Like if you want to be a bodybuilder or you want to look good on IG or you want to be a swole motherfucker, then, like, maybe fighting isn't for you because, like, all the best fighters have, like, a leaner physique, like, besides Francis. There are, like, unless you're a heavyweight, it's kind of a caveat, but.
Absolutely, because the power, discretion, I mean, Francis by himself is just, like, no man on earth can take those shots. He's proven that. So, yeah, like you're saying, like, it's different when you have that physique, that full size. Like, for William Knight to be this swole at 205 and to not have, like, this crazy knockout power like Rumble Johnson, at least it's just not going to work for him.
It's detrimental for sure. But all right, so I want to get into I guess I have a little bit of a hot take. I was teetering 10-8 in round 1, and I wasn't quite sure about it because a lot of damage was inflicted in round 1, multiple takedowns, and like literally so much damage, like 3 trip takedowns, like in the same round. Just was pretty much. I thought Daun Jung was pretty much doing whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. It was dominant, and there was the damage to go along with it. And so nobody seemed to really agree with me that round 1 was a 10-8, but I thought it was funny. In round 2, everybody was like, oh, clearly 10-8. But I thought the round 2, what they were seeing was the result of all the damage done in round 1. Like, it ain't like, oh, he just opened up those cuts in round 2. He opened them up in round 1, and they just.
There was a nice elbow from the top in round 1 that like actually got that cut to like start.
Yeah, and I noticed that like early on. Like, I'm not trying to obviously say like, oh, I know stuff that like Dominic Cruz doesn't know, but nobody said it on the broadcast. But like everybody in round 2 was like, oh, 10-8, clearly 10-8. But like I thought. Round 2 was I thought round 2 was a 10-8 too, but like I said, I think that damage was actually done in round 1, so it's hard for me to kind of like not
To not
take
10-8
that
both of them?
logic. Yes, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's hard to 10-8 2 without 10-81 because, in my opinion, that damage was done largely in one.
I mean, I had one as a 10-9, but I wrote it as an easy 10-9. So, like, if someone came at me and said, hey, that's a 10-8, I might be like, okay, tell me why. And then, like you just did, I'd probably be like, okay.
Yeah, because most people's problems seem to be with the 10-8s is the lack of damage, but that wasn't the case in this one. And I mean, there was a lot of damage.
and positional dominance. Like, he literally, the whole fight, dude. Like,
yeah,
we don't
this
even,
was an ass whooping.
I mean, as far as round by round goes,
yeah,
like,
we can keep it. Yeah, we can get to the. Yeah, this was an ass whooping, one-sided.
And this is super interesting to note. Super interesting to note for anyone that is watching this or listening to this that didn't check out your Dreadful Talk 43 where we came on and discussed that one card. This is super, like, this whole fight was an easy fight to judge as far as, like, every round was the same. So in one championship, they would just score the fight for Da Un Jung. It wouldn't be scored round by round, which it almost makes more sense in cases like this, man. I don't need a scorecard for this fight.
Yeah, I found myself yesterday kind of wishing for the one scoring. We'll get to our hill to die on, our daily hill to die on. But
oh my God.
But yeah, so yeah, Da Un Jung gets the win by unanimous decision. It was an ass whooping, at least one 10-8 round, maybe two 10-8 rounds. That moves him to, I think, 14-0-1, which is, I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, man, especially in the light heavyweight division.
Right, which isn't that deep. It's not that deep.
Exactly. If he was a bantamweight, featherweight, it'd be easier just to kind of, there's a lot of good young fighters. But, I mean, in light heavy, I mean, like I said, he's getting pretty hard to ignore. He's kind of one of these guys that, people, it's a phrase that gets thrown around, like, make yourself undeniable. Like, pretty soon, people are going to have to put some respect on his name.
Yeah, honestly. And, like, the last time we saw him out, he was out on Fine Island, which, shout out, Fine Island returns. Yeah, I finally decided to wear it for an episode, I know. But, yeah, we saw him on Fine Island. He wasn't super impressive. He seemed like he was a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
Again, in this fight, he seemed like a really good wrestler, but his ground and pound was nice in this fight. And he
much
was
more active.
Yes, his activity level was way better. So maybe the Fine Island trip was not good for him. Who knows? Yeah. But, yeah, I'm big on Da Un Jung moving forward.
Yeah.
Essentially,
moving forward in the light heavyweight, he looks good. But, yeah, we'll keep it pushing, man. We got Luis Saldana versus Jordan Griffin. Saldana making his debut as a minus 145 favorite. Griffin coming in as a plus 115 underdog. Fighting at featherweight. And, man, round one started off as a close round. I lean 10-9 Griffin just because he kind of controlled at the end of the round, but it was very back and forth, very coin flip. I kind of just went with Griffin because it kind of, like I said, at the end of the round, he kind of controlled things. I thought Saldana started round one with some very nice striking, but like towards the end of the round, Griffin was kind of able to neutralize that striking with some grappling.
Round one was like an entirely a round of two halves, right? Like the first half of the round, Saldana was winning, and then Griffin realized if he kept it close in a clinch or up on the fence or engaged in like this like really tight range, that he was going to essentially be the better guy.
Yeah.
And so I scored the first round 10-9 to Griffin as well. Interesting to note, because I didn't notice it until the second round, Saldana's missing his right index finger.
Yeah, you pointed that out to me, bro. You texted me. I had no idea. It didn't jump off the screen to me either. They didn't mention it. Maybe he like asked them not to mention it. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I wondered about that. But like I just noticed he posted a hand on the mat and there was like no finger coming out of the like part of that part of the glove, and I was like, wait, what?
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah, I was like, is it inside his glove? And then I just realized, like, no, he just doesn't have a right index finger.
Usually the UFC milks the fuck out of whatever storyline they can get
like,
their hands on. So
like, what a story! Like he's missing it. Like in fighting a finger
was he
it's more
born
something.
Like that? Was he chopping wood one day? Like what the fuck happened? Like
Did
I
he
don't
lose
know.
it in the cage in training? Like where are we
at? Yeah, true. That like I said, they usually milk every story for what it's worth. So yeah, they missed the opportunity there because I was just at home wondering what the fuck. And then in round two, another very close round. Like these rounds were very, very, very close.
Yeah.
Kind of. This fight would have been interesting under the one criteria because scoring a round by one on the fight like this gets real dicey. But yeah, round two, I lean 10-9 Griffin again. He had that deep choke attempt at the end of the round, but like up until that choke attempt, which the choke attempt didn't land, it was a
Saldana got saved by time though. right?
He did.
Because
No,
the
he
time runs
essentially got
out.
saved by the bell. He essentially
Yeah,
got
like
saved by
he
the
looked
bell.
at the ref and like he heard the clapper before he got put into like the fully locked in choke. So at like 5 seconds, the ref is like looking at him when it's locked in. Like, are you going to tap? And he looks at him like, no, I'm just going to wait it out. Like, gives him a thumbs up. Like, it's 5
Which is
seconds.
pretty
Let me make it.
gangster. I like the thumbs up. I like the thumbs
Yeah,
up. That was
yeah. I
pretty
was
tough.
like, all right. I was like, all right. You
Good
know where you're at.
awareness. Good awareness of the
Exactly.
clock. Like good fight IQ. I mean, honestly, like good composure where you stay calm. Like all the things you want your fighter to do, and there's a deep choke getting put on him.
But
So
like you just noted, like for that choke to be that deep, and literally if there's 7 more seconds in the round, 5 more seconds maybe, 3 more seconds maybe, I don't know.
it was enough
Griffin
to
wins
get
the
Griffin
fight.
around.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So I have him up
Because
2018 going into the round 3.
me too, but man, like that. Like once again, scoring rounds gets so weird because it was the closest 2018 you'll ever see. But and then round 3, another very very close round. I thought really my factor was that like Saldana had some success in 3, but that success did not like yield enough damage to really steal him the round. Which stealing him the round wouldn't, according to our scorecards, wouldn't have really done anything for him anyway. So
I thought he did win round 3, but like you're saying, once again, a super close round.
yeah, and the judges agree with you. All 3 judges agree with you. So I'm probably tripping, but I just thought. Saldana had not a lot of juice on his punches, and it just didn't like. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't like it. Like just as a fan, like I don't know. It was just not a lot of damage, not a lot of on him. But he was landing more successfully in round 3, really, than at any point in the fight, besides the very beginning of round 1. But yeah, all 3 judges give this 29-28 unanimous decision. Saldana, he wins his debut.
But that's crazy. We both just scored it for Griffin.
Yeah, I scored it for Griffin.
I did
scored
too.
It for Griffin. Like I said, but so knee-jerk reaction when they read the scorecards was, oh my God, I'm so angry, die on the hill.
Unanimous though?
Unanimous, but what I'm getting at, the more I dived into it, the more understanding I became. Only because, hear it out, in my scorecard, round 1 and round 3 was essentially a toss-up. You did give Saldana 3. I didn't. I had this 30-27 Griffin. So you can see, like, at knee-jerk reaction, I was like, what? But round 1, like, was, like, you see a judge valuing the start of round 1, all the damage from Saldana, over just the position dominance of Griffin at the end of the round. I could easily see that. Like it's not now the fact that all 3 judges saw it that way is weird in my opinion. But it's not like inconceivable, I guess is what I'm getting at. But no, my knee-jerk reaction was like, what the fuck is happening here? But then I look back on it and like round 1 was very, very close. And round 3 was so close, you actually did give it to him. So I mean it's just not that like absurd. I don't know. Go ahead. I've said enough.
You bought yourself back in. You it's unbelievable, man. I mean, I don't know if you work for the UFC. I don't know if they're just like privately sponsoring you. Like, it's crazy.
That Dana Duffel, man. That
crazy. All 3
Dana
judges
Duffel.
scored because, like, on the cards, it was all 3 judges had round 1 to Saldana, round 3 to Saldana, 2 to Griffin. There's no way.
But
one of them. How did not one of them see
gave,
it slightly differently?
You gave Saldana 3, though.
I think he did win 3. I agree with that.
Okay, so we're really debating 1 round.
Yeah, round 1. Round 1. Jordan Griffin won round 1. I don't understand like how that's not. I don't think it's that close. That's why I'm rolling roll the hill out. Roll the hill out.
I'm pretty sure, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm pretty sure Saldana like outstruck Griffin by like a wide margin in round 1, bro. Like, and like I said, I gave round 1 to Griffin on my scorecard. I guess I'm just being devil's advocate here. I don't know. Like, because like I said, I didn't see it that way. But like Griffin also didn't land hardly. Like he wasn't like he was like really doing that much damage. There was a lot of like grapple control. Like, and on the feet, Saldana was piecing him up like pretty like noticeably. But like on the ground, Griffin was controlling him noticeably. So, like I said, I agree with you, but I'm just, I'm not rolling out my hill. I'm not. The hill is not being died upon.
Keep it in the garage. I'm rolling it out. Stake me in the chest.
Rolling it out, yeah. Dying, human sacrifice on the hill. just judging. I feel it. I'm not mad at your martyrdom.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I said, I knee-jerk reaction in the moment. I was hot. I was like, what the fuck? This is a joke. I just
that's what I'm saying.
having some time to
texted
think
you
about
about it,
it.
did I not? I
Oh, you
did, right?
did. Having some time to think about it. Like I said, round one was very close, and you literally gave him 3. So, like, I thought if anybody's going to be mad, it's going to be me. Like, you over here giving him rounds and shit, and then, like,
Yeah, you scored at 30-27 for Jordan. You're not rolling the hill on. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Call me Flip Flop McGee, man. But we'll keep it pushing to this Hunter Azure versus Jack Shore fight. A lot of hype train coming in on Jack Shore. I thought Hunter Azure actually looked really good in this fight, but Hunter Azure was a plus 140 underdog. Jack Shore minus 180 favorite, coming in at 13-0 undefeated. A lot of hype on him. And bantamweight, something about those bantamweights just get those hype trains rolling, man. This is like the hype train division.
Think how deep this division is that there's one loss between these two guys before this fight occurs, and neither of them are ranked. And Jack Shore, I think, is like 13 or 14-0 at this point before the fight. I think 13-0 before the fight occurs. And Hunter Azure's like 9-1.
Yeah, no, definitely. We always love to talk about how deep the bantamweight division is. It's a fun division. You know what else is crazy about the bantamweight division is like the variety of body types in it. You think 135,
it's crazy.
Everybody would be real thin, but you get those real short guys that are still managed to be thick somehow at 135. And then you get the tall Sean O'Malley's. Like, you get a wide variety in 135.
Like Sandhagen versus Garbrandt, those are crazy different bodies. Crazy different bodies.
Definitely, man. So yeah, we love our bantamweights, and they usually give us a show, and they usually give us some hype, and they usually give us plenty to talk about. So it's usually always a good time when we get some young up and coming bantamweights in the cage. Man, round one, I thought literally round one was a coin flip, bro. This was, and I try not to do this lately. Like,
Me too.
When we first started the podcast, I would have to lean on my like ESPN statistics more than I care to admit. But lately I've been really, really trying not to go to the numbers. It's going off what I see, because that's what the judges have to do. And
right.
But on round one, man, I literally was sitting there scratching my head. I had to go to the numbers. Jack Shore had 2 takedowns. That was literally the only number that really differed. It was a very razor thin round. I gave it 10-9 Shore. It was very close. It was very close.
Yeah, man. I honestly, I agree completely. My notes are that it was a great first round, back and forth. Shore seemed to be the more aggressive grappler, but Azure seemed to be a little bit more aggressive striker.
And Azure just so game. Azure was not too small for the moment, because this fight was built up as all Jack Shore. But I mean, when you think about it, they were hyping up Jack Shore a lot. I mean, when I say they, I mean literally the entire MMA community, the commentators, the Twitter, I mean everybody, other fighters. But Hunter Azure was only a plus 140 underdog. Vegas,
right?
Vegas knew it was going to be a close fight. But nobody was saying shit about Hunter Azure, and I'll be right. I didn't know a ton about Hunter Azure coming into this one, and but man, Hunter Azure was game. He didn't shrink for the moment. He had no quit in him whatsoever, and he wasn't. It's he didn't get the memo that this was the Jack Shore party. You know what I'm saying?
Right? No, he came to his own party. I guess he thought he came to win. Hunter Azure is a beast. He was a NCAA wrestler. I don't think he ever made All-American, but was a super good wrestler.
A Sioux Indian too, which I thought was just interesting. I'm married to a Native American woman, so I always I always keep an eye out for that kind of stuff, because it's so
from Poplar, Montana too, small town.
Quick offshoot here. Do this sometimes on the podcast. Sorry for the hardcores out there, but it's how wild is it that I think American Indians make up 1% of the United States population or some shit at this point. It's that's going to Japan. Imagine if Japanese people made up 1% of Japan.
Funny that you choose Japan, because they're the least racially diverse country on the planet.
Oh well, I didn't.
I
I just picked them because I guess subconsciously I did know that because I associated Japan with Japanese people. And
Yeah, they
so,
have like over a 94% rate of like straight Japanese people.
imagine if it was like, 99% of Japan was just whites, blacks, and Mexicans, and
Yeah,
and
yeah, and then you said like 1% Japanese people, so you
and,
never saw an
and,
Asian person.
and there's like a little section of land like, oh yeah, that's where the Japanese live over on that reservation. Like that's literally what we do here in America. Like
It's
that's
fucked
because
up.
like this is like they're American Indians, like they're Native Americans, like this they're like I don't know. It's super mind blowing and fucked up to think about. Like I said, I don't want to go too far down that road, but it's really wild to think about. Like I said, like just like we have to like we're in America pointing out like, oh, there's like an American like Indian on the card. Like how rare is that? And it's like I don't know.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah,
Like that
yeah,
sentence doesn't make sense. Like it's oxymoronic to say that in America you can never find American Indians.
yeah. No doubt, man. So it's very interesting, and just shout out to all the natives up there holding it down. It's crazy just the history of all that. But man, sorry,
Yeah.
we'll get the train back on the tracks. We'll keep it pushing. There was a low blow to Shore in two. It wasn't too bad. No points got taken away, but I just wanted to note that. And especially because round two, another very, very close round. Both men had their moments. Once again, in a coin flip, Jack Shore had the takedown a little bit later in the round that I thought kind of secured him the round, but a very competitive, very close round. And kind of another one of these fights where it's kind of annoying to even have to score round by one round after like experiencing the one method.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, like, oh God, scoring this fight on the one method would have been so wild. So wild. Like,
so wild.
oh my God. Because the second round, I wrote ultra close second round that I think
close.
Azure stole at the end.
Okay, fair enough. See,
Like, I think he stole it out at the end.
I'm not mad at that at all. You said I pretty much had round two as a coin flip as well. This fight was razor thin. Like I said, it was very, very hard to score round by round. It would have been interesting to see scoring it as a whole.
Even the third was close. It was just that Shore was more active, I thought, and had a little bit more like aggression and was like directing the fight a little more in the third. So just to give it away before, I'm sorry to interrupt as well. I know you're about to go, but
this is our podcast, bro.
But like, yeah, I scored the third to Jack Shore just based pretty much on the fact that he was just a little more active in like hunting for takedowns and things. And I also saw the stat. This might have biased me a little bit. He was 8 of 14 on takedown attempts, and Azure was 0 of 7. So I think the 0 for 7 was a big standout fact to me.
Yeah, just on the eye test. I actually thought round three was the easiest round to score of the whole fight.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, I thought it
was crazy.
Round. Yeah, no, I thought it was Shore's best round. I mean, I think it was one of those situations where, like, Azure had pretty much pulled every tool out of the belt and was left, like, by round three, like I said, he gave him all he fucking, wanted. He gave him a tough night of work. But,
oh, yeah.
But, I think the talent gap did start to pull away. Like we see it a lot in like college basketball where the first half, the upset team, the small school, it'll be neck and neck. But in the second half, Kentucky
they make the adjustments,
pull away with their 5-star talent, and that's essentially what Jack Shore is a very highly thought of, prospect is like, and so yeah, I thought the third round he started to pull away, started to separate a little bit. It was much easier to score. I thought the round three was the easiest round to score. Let's see. Two judges gave it 30-27. Shore, which is what I ended up scoring it. Now they were, like I said, that's why I hate the round by round now, because this fight was so much closer than 30-27. One judge gave it actually 29-28 Azure though.
Right.
I thought was super interesting.
That's what I was going to say. That was crazy to me is I went 29-28 Shore. No other judge scored it that way. Instead, two judges went all 3 rounds to Shore, and then one judge went 2 rounds to Azure.
But like I said, 2 rounds were a coin flip. So if his coin landed on Azure, like I'm not mad at that. Like this definitely isn't no hill to die on or anything, like, because I literally at a coin flip you can't be mad. It was razor thin, and Azure did a lot of good things. Like Azure.
Oh yeah, he was active on his own. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him all he could bargain for. You know what I mean? So I'm not mad at that judge at all. Like he's not out of line. But Jack Shore ends up getting split decision. I'm sure it was a lot closer than he probably thought it was going to be going into this. Said Azure gave him all he could handle. But he's now 14-0, another bantamweight. I mean, see, this is where I think Sean O'Malley thinks higher of himself than maybe he should at this moment, or maybe not. He's done the work to build the brand, but like I think like O'Malley Shore would be a great fight, but I think O'Malley's after the cruisers, after the bigger names.
Honestly, it would be a tremendous fight, but like Jack Shore just doesn't have the name, exactly what you're saying. And I think Jack Shore could probably beat O'Malley, so I think the UFC doesn't want to do that. Like,
they don't want to extinguish either fire. You're right now.
Yeah, like they're watching out for their own best interests, which in turn helps both these guys, but that's only because both these guys have a huge brand. Like Jack Shore has this massive international brand as far as like Europe is considered, and then O'Malley obviously has this like West Coast young vibe, streams on Twitch, good at games. I mean, he's a star in and of himself. Even if he's not in the UFC, he's a star. So, like, UFC needs to do what they can to keep him building.
Like, at this point, if O'Malley never fights again, he's still essentially like, what, Jake Paul and those guys, right? Like, he has a podcast, the YouTube, the streaming. Like, he could, like, he
plays with pros on Twitch. Like, he plays with, like, Nick Merckx and guys that get, like, 35,000 viewers, like, consistent, like, streaming viewers. So, like, those are people that are obviously going to, like, see O'Malley play. He's pretty good at the games. They watch. It's like Demetrius Johnson. They watch him play. Then they go subscribe to his stream. They donate money. So he's making money. Merch. And then that's the other thing, right? That's like the tunnel that they go through is like you start watching him play the games. Then you subscribe to watching him. So you're giving him money, revenue every month. Then you get onto the merch because you like what he wears because he wears pretty fucking sick merch. Like, did you hear the Pat McAfee interview that he did?
Yep.
So he talks about how when he fought Thomas Almeida in this last fight, that he knocked him down with the left hand in the first round. He actually wasn't walking off to like get a walk-off KO. He was pissed off because he pre-printed shirts that had the O'Malley right hand KO, essentially like predicting his own victory. So he was pissed off that he ruined his own merch and was like, "Get back up! I got to hit it right."
He's the merch king, man. But then he's such a star. Obviously, like he bleeds into this podcast where he didn't even fight last night. But yeah, no, he's a star, and I think that would be a good fight. But there's no shortage of talented bantamweights to match Jack Shore up with to keep building him up. And as we always talk about, there's no easy nights out in the UFC bantamweight division. So we'll keep it pushing. But Jack Shore, hot name to keep your eyes out, eyes and ears out for. See what happens next with him. And then Hunter Azure, when he fights, whoever he fights next. Like, I know that they don't have an easy night out either. Like, he brings his fucking lunch pail.
Oh, hard hat lunch pail kind of a guy, you know what I mean?
100%.
Let me ask you this, though. What do you think about Jack Shore, Casey Kenny? Casey Kenny coming off that loss against Dominic Cruz, kind of like a back-end top 15 guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
Be a fun style test for Jack Shore, I think, as well.
I mean, whew. It would test his chin, that's for sure. And I think it's Kenny. Kenny's going to come with that heat. He's a thick bantamweight. Kind of what we were talking about, the body styles that you see in bantamweight. So, I mean, that's not – I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. It'd be interesting to see if Kenny would want a fight like that after a guy like Cruz. Maybe he would view it as he needs a win. He'll fight a young guy. I don't know. Different fighters interpret that different ways. You know what I'm saying? But
definitely.
But yeah, we'll keep it pushing here because we got the only heavyweights, the only beefy boys on the whole card. We got Jorgen De Castro minus 335 favorite fighting late last minute replacement Georges Daniel, a plus 250 underdog, and they're fighting at heavyweight. Like I said, only heavyweights on the card.
But man, did they deliver.
They did. They gave us exactly what we want from our heavyweights, a slugfest.
Exactly right.
Some big bombs, and is it our first upset of the night? Was it our first?
First, like, big upset, yeah, for sure.
Oh, first upset.
First on the books upset,
period.
You're right.
Yeah, for sure. So, and sorry, there's really no spoiler because it was a round one KO for Georges Daniel, and
dude,
went down exactly like close your eyes, picture two heavyweights, doesn't even matter who they are. They have some shitty tattoos and a little bit of jiggle when they move, and they're throwing big rights. and one of them goes down.
Yeah,
like
imagine.
That's like we've seen it happen. It's just like it's what we want from our heavyweight fights, especially our heavyweight prelim fights. Maybe not a heavyweight championship, but a heavyweight prelim fight. Give me a round 1 KO all day, any day. And
all day, every day.
Especially when there's 7 prelim fights. It's like, cool, we can keep this. We just keep this show on the road, and we can keep our podcast on the road as well. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to break down, except for the fact that De Castro was a minus 335 favorite.
Right.
Man, with low-end heavy, I'm starting to learn something from a betting perspective. I want to talk about this probably more than I'll do the actual fight because we just summed up the fight in one sentence. But I'm starting to learn if there's like a prelim heavyweight fight with a guy in the threes, like you can get some good value on
Bet
those
the dog.
underdogs.
In heavyweight, you're right because like if they have a live chance as like a KO guy, they're probably going to get it, I feel like, right? Is that what you're leaning to?
Well, and it's like it's not like he's that skilled or he want to be this low on the card. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying if Francis or Derek Lewis is that heavily favored. Like, yeah, I'm not betting against.
Yeah.
But like a low undercard, like a guy like Jorgen De Castro as a minus 335.
But I will say, Blades was a massive favorite over Lewis, and you talked about betting Lewis by the KO.
Yeah, and I did. I actually wanted some money on that. So, I'm just saying with heavyweights, there's some money to be made on underdogs by KO for sure. Like, and I feel like, though, like I said, like you just pointed out a great example of a high-end version of it, but I feel like lower on the card, I feel like it's even more likely to happen because obviously the defense is a little less elite. The technique is slightly less crisp.
The physique is a little worse.
Way a little less. Yeah, exactly. The worse shape of guys in, the easier it goes down. Probably has a little more L's on the record. The chin's a little softer.
Or a little less experience as far as like how to dodge big shots.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So I'm going to remember that moving forward. Like, I learned something from this fight from, like, a betting perspective moving forward. Like, I know you can't apply this to every single fight, but it's not like this is the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last.
Definitely not the last. But just to give Jorgen his shine, too, man, it was beautiful the way that De Castro, like, threw an overhand right, leaned his head in, obviously, to throw the punch with his head. And it looked like Jorgen saw it coming the whole way through because he leaned back, dodged the overhand, and then almost like a sidestep lean almost, and just landed the sickest counter right.
It was swaggy for some big boys.
Yeah, exactly. Which was even a scarier counter right, though, because De Castro's head was coming forward. It was like he was diving into this massive counter shot that was perfectly on, like, the temple of the head, too, bro. Like, it was bad KO. Like, De Castro was out bad.
It was very evident, and at least to me, that De Castro essentially, like as they say, like read your own press clippings, like knew he was a big favorite and kind of just didn't respect his power, which at heavyweight, always a bad idea.
Like
10 out of 10
everybody has
times.
power. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Right, like so everyone has power.
Like I said, that's my opinion of kind of what happened, kind of a little beyond the X's and O's. I think De Castro's like, let me go get this KO 50K. I just kind of didn't respect him and just kind of went in a little reckless and got caught with, like you said, a gorgeous counter.
Yeah, it was, and the amount of time we spent on this fight is probably about right because that fight was 3 minutes long, and like we said, it's exactly what the heavyweights, what we want from our beefy boys. But so the last 3 fights on the prelims, I thought, interesting note, are all lightweight division fights. Which I thought was just interesting to think they put 3 lightweights in a row. But it started off with John Mcdessen at plus 160 versus Ignacio Bahamondes.
This was probably – actually, not probably. This was my favorite fight of the night. This fight was amazing.
Dude, this was the fight of the night, except Bahamondes missed weight by 3/4 of a pound. Do you know how salty I am that the rules they can't win fight of the night because he missed weight? Well, it was easily the fight of the night. Well, Mcdessen, they can, but Mcdessen gets both bonuses. But Dana's not trying to help Mcdessen like that.
That much, yeah. A guy like Mcdessen, 100 racks. I feel you, not stingy, not Scrooge McDuck, as Schaub likes to call him. But yeah, I feel you. This fight was amazing, though. Did you by chance get to write down who actually did win the bonuses? Because I did not last night, and I do apologize for listeners.
So, fight of the night was, let me look through it and I can see him real fast. Mackenzie Dern got a finish bonus.
Okay.
Fight of the night went to Sam Alvey and Julian Marquez, so they each got $50K.
I'm not
And
mad at that.
then I want to say Gamrot, Mateus Gamrot, got it for his
Okay.
TKO of Holtzman.
Okay, cool. All right, cool, man. You know what? I wouldn't have been mad if Daniel got one of those. I mean, the
I wouldn't have
upset
been
first
salty.
round
I would have been
KO.
salty with fucking Kasung and I getting a bonus either.
Yeah, I feel that. I wouldn't have been mad at either of those. But it's always so hard to in reality, a lot of these guys deserve it. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing. This fight was amazing. Yeah, we got John Mcdessen plus 160 underdog. Ignacio Bahamondes minus 200 favorite, but just a super interesting guy. First off, 6'3" in the lightweight 155-pound division. Like, it stood out, like, very obvious. He's so tall and so long.
Kickboxing champion from his home country,
Only
Chile.
23 years old. Yeah, and he's Chilean, and apparently has had like a crazy journey to like get to where he's at. They kind of didn't go too much into detail, but it made it seem pretty dramatic. And man, they came out, and at first, like the first 2 minutes of the round, Bahamondes was putting on like a clinic. Like, he was looking like Stylebender out there. He was jumping off
Piecing
the
him up.
cage, piecing him, like every conceivable, like crazy, like video game strike was being thrown and landed. And like I said, he's so tall and so thin that there's not a ton of power on those shots, but they were gorgeous shots, super precise, super technical. And then Mcdessen, on the other hand, I think he was like 35 years old, just a salty veteran, like
salty vet, like been in the UFC since like 2011 or 2012, like been there so long.
They were polar opposite. Like, Bahamondes was 23, looked 16. Mcdessen was 35, looked 42. Like, he was like Bahamondes tall, skinny. Mcdessen's like short, thin. Short and thick. Bahamondes hairless as a fucking mole rat. Mcdessen bearded and like gray chest hair. They were polar opposites, and like
it was great.
Their styles were polar opposites because, like I said, Bahamondes was like trying to just put on a clinic, super crisp, super technical, and like Mcdessen was like, "Oh no, youngin, we're about to get nasty, and you're about to feel this grown man strength." And like Mcdessen weathered the early storm, landed a big shot. I think it was a right. And it was a different fight from that point on, from that strike afterwards.
Dude, had Bahamondes hurt, like I couldn't believe he survived the round. Like, yeah, I was like actually amazed, yeah, because like he was like getting beat like around the octagon, but was surviving enough to where he finally like got back and was like striking back toward the end of the round. He was like actually landing some hard strikes at the end of the round. I gave it 10-9, obviously, to Mcdessen.
Yeah,
but I also noted that that's amazing that he made it not a 10-8.
Yeah, well, and it's hard. It would have been hard for me to give it a 10-8 regardless.
Based on the early part of the round, I know.
The first 2 minutes of the round.
But if he had continued to just get beat up for the remainder of the round, like that would have been like 2.5, 3 minutes of him getting beat up and getting rocked. Like the fact that he came back and fought the last minute or so of the first round was like, whoa.
He showed chin and he showed heart. And he showed a lot of like good intangibles. Like, this was the definition of a fight he'll like learn and get better from 100%. But yeah, it was a banger of a first round. I gave it 10-9 Mcdessen as well. Round 2, also a banger. I thought it was a
they were just going to war.
Yeah,
they were just going to war.
And like both were like doing their style, because like it would be on the outside and Bahamondes would piece him up with a gorgeous combo. And then Mcdessen would get inside that range and like kind of eat some shots on the way in. But once he was in, he would land his big power shots and like make him feel his grown man strength. Like, grown man strength was like if I had like boil this fight down to like, I guess that's 3 words, it's grown man strength. Like, that was the difference in this fight. It wasn't technique. It wasn't even heart. It wasn't even cardio, in my opinion. It was literally just like the grown man strength, which you can say 23 is grown, but like, if you saw these two fight, and like Mcdessen just was so much just like harder, you know what I'm saying? Just like denser, you know?
Oh yeah, and like Mcdessen like looked like a vet's body, like he's been doing it for a long time. Like, there were no soft parts of him because he's been getting beat up in practice for probably 20 years at this point. Whereas Bahamondes has barely even lived 20 years.
Yeah, so exactly.
It's one of those things where it is like completely new school versus old school, but they're kind of meeting in the middle. And dude, what a fucking fight. Like, I thought
It was
the
a
UFC
great
match.
fight.
I just want to take a side note real fast before we get to the third round, which I also just side note think Bahamondes won the second round. How'd you score the second round?
Oh no, I gave round 2 10-9 Mcdessen, but it was so close. Like it was a coin flip. I thought, but like I said, that grown man strength I thought was the difference. Like I didn't look at the numbers. I bet Bahamondes probably won the numbers, but just it was one of those things when Mcdessen landed, it was
Did
just
you
so
did
different than
did you
whenever
see the numbers on
Bahamondes.
this fight, by the way?
No, I did. I don't think I did. At least I don't think I did. I don't think I wrote down.
There wasn't a round that was separated by more than 7 strikes, and that 7-strike round was the third round in which Mcdessen outstruck Bahamondes 45-38.
Wow. Yeah. So they were just trading, and so like
The
that's what
the
I'm
second
saying.
round was 2 strikes different, I think, in Bahamondes' favor.
See, and that's and that kind of leads to my argument of like Mcdessen lands so much harder, and where's the shot so much
Where's
better?
the shots way better? Bahamondes was getting cut up so bad.
Cut up and just just rocked and knocked off his balance and just like whenever Mcdessen landed, it was just so much more like jump off the screen than when Bahamondes landed. So that's why I went to. I'm not mad at you. It was a very close, intense round. Great round. I loved it. I would watch that round on repeat just for fun. It was so awesome. But yeah, so I have it right now, 2018 Mcdessen going into the round 3. But you have it what 19 or was it 19?
1990, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
But like going into the third, I thought Mcdessen won the third. I thought he came out stronger.
Yes, me too. I got round 3, 10-9 Mcdessen. Once again, he just landed harder and did more damage. Bahamondes looked great though. Like I'm a fan of both of these guys. Like moving forward, like Bahamondes, like just first off, he's so young. Like I said, I think he learned a ton from this fight, and he showed a ton in this fight.
Yes, I think that's important too.
Yeah, he's super talented. I mean, like I said, 6'3", fighting at lightweight. I mean, I think he'll eventually, I don't know, he'll eventually have to get stronger, but I think that comes with time and just his man body filling out and developing. I think that'll happen naturally. But, because like I said, he's built essentially like a teenager. Like he's 23, but his body, he looks like an 18-year-old, like kind of like a Chase Hooper type body.
I want to see him when he's like 27, 28.
Yeah,
when his body's really like stacked and used to what it does every single day.
Yeah, and his technique is just gorgeous, bro. Like just gorgeous. Like his striking is just so flowing.
I think there is a truth too to like the more you do something, like as far as like when you're young, you can't have that. Some dudes do. Some dudes are genetically there. Like I bet Paulo Costa was obviously there when he was 19 or 20, but he's also been bodybuilding since he was like 12. So he's a little bit of a different case. But my point is, like farmers, think about like a farmer's strength and stuff.
Yeah.
They just do the same tasks every day, but they work all day long. So like that farmer strength is a real thing. Like, so I think there is a difference between like that like Ben Askren body and then like in the gym body.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I know a lot of guys like that. Like seriously, that are just like you can't move them. Hell, you pretty much like that. Like you know, like
I mean, yeah.
Good luck trying to move this guy off a spot if he don't want to be moved. But we didn't actually talk about the official judging of this score because one judge actually gave this fight to Bahamondes 29-28, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah, right. Like I wasn't going to roll the hill out for this split decision. Which did we have 3 split decisions on this card or 2?
So
I think we had 2.
Guaranteed 2.
2. Yeah, we had 2.
Yeah, and then but yeah, so like I said, because round 1 could have easily gone to Bahamondes. Round 2 could have easily gone to Bahamondes. Round 3 was really the only like non-debatable round, and I think that's so. But the other 2 judges, one judge scored it like me, 30-27 Mcdessen. I'm sure he felt it was a close 30-27, but that's on my scorecard. Really.
One judge scored it like me, 29-28 Mcdessen, and
one
judge scored it Bahamondes.
Yeah. So all opinions represented there, but yeah, we'll keep it pushing. Mcdessen gets the win, plus 160 and nothing. So back-to-back underdogs winning. Listen, I think Bahamondes, that's one of those losses, and he's so young that like that loss isn't like a bad loss though. Like I don't think any less of him. I actually think kind of more of him because he proved that like he can like be salty and nasty and hang in there.
Yeah. He stayed in the fight. He never once like ducked from the fight.
No, yeah, like he didn't like look like because sometimes like fighters, they'll go the distance, but like body language, like you can't fake the funk. Like you don't want to be there right now. Like I didn't sense
Yeah,
any of
right,
that.
right.
He was in the fucking firefight. He was in the foxhole. Like he was game.
Interestingly enough that you bring that up, I was just listening to a podcast with Brendan Schaub and Misha Tate, and they
Oh,
both.
I haven't heard that one yet.
It's good. But they talk about how she's coming back to fight in the UFC, how she had to leave her job at ONE FC because the UFC made her leave her job at ONE FC, not because ONE FC got rid of her. It's like, are you fucking serious? Like, UFC's so whack for that. But
player haters.
But they both talk about how, like, there have been fights in their career, which I was surprised to hear Misha Tate say this because I always kind of thought Schaub was just a little bit different as far as, like, fighters. But she's talked about how, like, there's been fights where she just didn't want to, like, fight that day. Like, she just, like, got to the arena and was like, I just don't want to do this today. Like, I just don't feel this. And, like, that's a dangerous fucking job to do when you don't feel good about it.
I mean, I can relate on a different level, like, of just, like, when I was playing college football, like, there were some days, because it's different, like, you play on, like, a Saturday, like, afternoon. And, like, some days, like, you spent the whole day before on a bus. And you in a city, you don't even know, like what's this school called again? You know, I was playing small-time college football. And I've been there, bro. Like, it's like, you know, like 10 o'clock in the morning, or you may have even gone to a different time zone. Like one time we played a game in Colorado.
Oh, well, like wrestling tournaments, like we did crazy shit for those.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like I don't know, it was so different. Like in high school, I was juiced, but like in college, you're a little older.
Yeah,
it's like there was
and you
just,
feel more used, right? Like it's not like just the love and passion. Like you're out there like getting a scholarship, like getting an education, but at the same time, like you're getting put to fucking work every day at 6 a.m. Like I know you and Nick and those guys did not love those workouts every morning.
Oh yeah, bro. And then there were days. Like I said, I'm just saying I can't. I'm just saying I'm not a fighter. I'm just saying I've been like I'm on kickoff return. The game's starting, and I'm like, fuck, we're really about to do this right now.
You're like
God
fuck,
damn.
man.
It's like a Saturday morning.
But it's almost like but it's almost like if you're just like thinking in your head like, can we just like 4 hours later? Like I'll be good in 4 hours. I just don't want to do it right the fuck now.
Yeah. So it's like I can kind of somewhat relate of like being. Like that, you have to be there at that time. Like that was agreed upon like months ago. And it's like, yeah, but it's like, it doesn't mean that's when you're firing on all cylinders. And sometimes you can't just like get in. Like I've been there. It's not a fun place to be. But for sure, we'll keep it pushing because this next fight, like you said, he got fight of the night. It's a little. I don't know. I don't know if I would have given this one fight of the night. Like I don't know.
No. This one didn't get fight tonight. McGamrot just got a bonus for his finish.
Word. Okay. Good. All right. So we have Scott Holtzman plus 195 underdog fighting Mateusz Gamrot minus 250 favorite. Gamrot I think was 17-1 or 18-1.
17 or 18-1 because he was on an 18 fight win streak before his first fight in the UFC. Which his first fight in the UFC, I can't remember who it was against. We have it in the book somewhere. It was a crazy tough fight. Like I think he got like a top 15 guy in his first fight.
Was it Kudaladze? No, it was one of, I feel like it was one of those European guys.
It might have been Kudalitse.
No, who's the other guy? I won't go down that rabbit hole. But yeah,
Fiziev. It was someone like that. It was one of those dudes that's like a straight killer out of the at 155, and you're like, why would you give Gamrot this guy? But backstory for him, for anyone that didn't follow that first episode. He was the KSW 145, 155 two weight class champion. So I think KSW is bringing over really good fighters to the UFC, to be quite honest, man, because
and is that kickboxing or is that MMA?
It's MMA. It's just a South African league. It's like like a lot of African people go there. But like Dricus du Plessis is a guy that also has come to the UFC from there, but he was the 70, 85 pound champ. So I just think it's interesting that they had two guys that held 4 belts, and now they both came to the UFC. And if you remember the one championship fight, Lug, he's from KSW as well.
Oh yeah, I like him. He won me over there. He's just literally like Hulk smash for real.
Air Umar.
Oh man, but yeah, man, because Gamrot came out, looked amazing. Round 1 had a 10-9 Gamrot. He had the takedown, which he's no more for his striking, so he got that takedown. He was in control. He was landing shots. I mean, I had a 10-9 Gamrot. I assume you did too.
I definitely had a 10-9 Gamrot, and I'm just going to be quite honest. When I watch his fights, I'm incredibly biased because his wrestling is so pretty. that like I kind of get lost in. Like his ankle picks and like his like chain
That's
wrestling from
right.
like his
He
ankle
did.
pick to like a single leg to a double
Yeah.
leg to like
Yeah.
a switch to like a body lock takedown is unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Talking about how him going for the ankle was like a unique approach. Not a ton of guys used,
Super smart.
He did it to perfection. He just worked his way up, just kind of climbed his way up.
Well, if you think about it like this too in the UFC, it's so smart because one, so like from a wrestling perspective, when you get the ankle, it's the lightest point on the leg at which you can pull up, right? Because like think about like how weight is distributed, right? Like if you grab a board at like the end versus the center, it's easier to lift up the end than the whole center, right?
It makes a lot
So
of
same
sense.
with a leg. Like when you get the ankle, you can pick it up and it's way lighter than picking up at the knee. So it's already a better point to attack.
Okay.
So, but then the other part is you can't get kneed or kicked in the face because if you actually take a low shot and you hit your knee to do it, like a real wrestling shot, you're grounded. So you can't. I'm pretty sure by the rules, like, would you not be a grounded opponent? Like
you have a knee on the ground,
right? So like they can uppercut, but they can't defend with a knee to your face.
Ooh, okay.
Or a kick, obviously.
So that's a really smart technique. Yeah, he's got it down packed. He put it on full display. It really was nice. It really was nice. I'm glad you brought that up. For real because I remember it now, but I kind of slipped.
Dude, and that's all of his entries are ankle picks like that, but they're so quick and they're so pretty.
So effective. Yeah, definitely. You're right. He did such a good job of that. And then, but in round two, man, he finished it off with the hands, which proves how well-rounded he is because he put that beautiful wrestling on display. And then in round two, just finished it off with the hands. He dropped him with the right hand and then just pretty much got on top and finished him off. And, the ref stepped in and stopped it.
Dude, it was a saucy 1-2. He didn't even hit the one on the 1-2. He literally just hit the second, like the cross, the right cross, and like it connected so flush. And what I thought was interesting about the clip that I enjoyed, like this is a little like not sadistic, but like you could see that in like Holtzman saw the right hand like coming in, like you could literally see his eyes, like he dodges the one punch and like looks up, and as soon as he looks up, like the punch is like about to meet his face, and he just like eats shit, and it was like,
oh man,
that's like movie clip perfect.
You can't dodge two punches at once, man. But yeah, so Gamrot gets the win. Wins as a -250, and so I mean he's looking like a real nice contender. And then we'll talk about these next the Joe Selecki fight next, and then we'll talk about the bottom end of the lightweight division and see maybe where these guys fit in or maybe play matchmaker. Sound good?
For sure. Yeah, for sure, because we got 6 of them right here.
Yeah, exactly. So then the next fight was the featured prelim, which is definitely a fight I had circled, and I think a lot of people had circled. We had Jim Miller, just the saltiest of salty vets, breaking the record for most UFC appearances. I think him and Cowboy are pretty much going back and forth with that record, with each.
But I don't think the UFC is giving Cowboy any more fights. I think it's Jim Miller's record now to hold. He's at 37 octagon appearances, which is the most. Cowboy has 36.
That's
and I think Miller probably gets another fight after this.
Yeah, he didn't look horrible. But yeah, so Miller was a +200 underdog. Selecki, hot shot, up and comer, coming in as a -280 favorite. Classic idols become your rival story. Joe Selecki grew up and watching Jim Miller fight. And,
both New Jersey guys.
Yeah, from a similar region, exactly. So they're meeting up at the lightweight division. He said back-to-back lightweight fights on this undercard. And then, round one, Jim Miller came out hot. I thought Jim Miller came out looking good in round one. And I had round one 10-9 Miller. He spent like the whole second half of the round on top, delivering some pretty decent ground and pound. But the first half of the round, Selecki was landing some pretty big shots on the feet.
Let me just ask you, are you going to be a UFC shill for this fight right now? Are you going to say this is a good fight?
No. This fight.
This shit was a snoozer.
I have it in my notes that it literally was a snoozer. I'm just saying you can't. I don't call any fight a snoozer after round one.
That's fair.
I need at least 2 rounds.
That's fair, but the reason I was like so hard on the snooze button on this fight was because the minute Joe Selecki took that lazy fucking shot and realized it wasn't like a good shot, it was a shitty shot. And then he realized like halfway through, he was like, oh, fuck, it was a bad shot. just pulled guard and just decided to like let Jim Miller stay on top for the whole first round, right? And Jim Miller like defended the takedown. The homeboy pulled guard. It did nothing, and it was just like and I'm not trying to be like a hater because they were having like a high level grappling match on the ground. It's just hard to appreciate that when I'm in the mood for some mixed martial arts.
Well, and it's not like it was like crazy scrambles or even submission attempts or really like anything of like the beautiful parts of grappling.
It was all shut down grappling. It was all just like position grappling.
Yeah, position grappling, which even the hardest of the hardcores, like that's can
tough
be
to
a little,
watch.
It's
For
a little
real.
rough on the eyes. I think, and it's hard to say. It's fair to say, since Joe Solecki was a minus 280 favorite, that Joe Solecki kind of fought down to his competition. Like, if you've ever played sports, like, you play a team that's like the worst team in the league, their shit. Everybody, maybe they partied the night before, whatever. You're not bringing your A game because, even on your worst day, you can still beat this team. And I know it's hard to look at Jim Miller like that, but there's one of two possibilities. Either that happened or Joe Solecki, like, kind of the whole deer in headlights, you're fighting a guy you grew up idolizing. Like, different guys handle that well. Some guys don't.
That's what
well.
I think it was. He respected Jim Miller too much. That's really what I think it was.
To just beat the dog shit out of him.
And also I think like in preparation, he was like, Jim Miller's such a vet. Like anything I throw at him, like he's gonna be ready for it. So like I just gotta make sure I fight a super clean, sound fight. Which means essentially what that means to me is like you're gonna fight safe. But against a guy like Jim Miller, when you're young, like you don't need to be doing that. Like if Jim Miller's slowing down, if he's getting old, and you're up and comer young, like you need to be going for those edges. No,
I love the way you put that. You put that much better than me. I feel you. We're on the same page here. But yeah. So and then in round two, like I said, Solecki spent over 3 minutes on top, and then that's whenever I wrote kind of a snoozer, like because the first round. Miller kind of ended up on top and then just stayed there. Round two, Solecki ended up on top and just stayed there. And I was like, I already know like what we're kind of in.
You knew what round three was going to be. It was just whoever got on top.
Yep. Solecki got on top in round three. Ground control. Literally wrote not a lot of damage. Literally wrote snoozer. I feel you. Yeah, no, I'm not about to sit here and tell you this was a great entertaining fight. This was a fight I thought it was going to be. But it didn't live up. It did not live up.
Funny enough, a lot of people thought this was like going to be a fire matchup. So I'm not even gonna like hate on you for thinking that because like that's pretty accurate as far as like what the public and probably what Mick Maynard and like Sean Shelby thought when they made the fight.
Because Joe Solecki refused to go for the kill. And then Jim Miller, just, his gas tank started to get exposed. He was fighting the more athletic, younger, fresher fighter. It wasn't great on the eyes. Now, one judge actually gave Solecki round one, which I don't really understand.
Yeah, how the fuck? Yeah, how the fuck?
Two judges scored it 29-28, which is exactly how we scored it. I do believe, right? That's how your score was. And so Joe Solecki wins as the minus 280. Like I said, it was a snoozer. But since that was such a snoozer, we can stop talking about the actual fight. Let's talk about the lightweight division because both Gamrot and Solecki are right there knocking on the door of top 15. Like they
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but let me just ask you this: you think that Gamrot, or you think that Solecki could be in the cage with Gamrot, and it's not just like a landslide favorite to Gamrot? I think they're actually like levels apart. Like I was not impressed with Solecki last night compared to where I think Gamrot's at.
All right. Well, you got to ask yourself a question. Where, like, if this is the spectrum of like, if this was Joe Solecki on his best night ever, firing on all cylinders, and then Joe Solecki last night, where does he fall? I think he falls like down here. Like I don't think he showed nearly like I don't think that was like the best version of himself. I don't think
I agree with that. I agree with that entirely. I don't know. I just think like I don't even think like based on styles. I just think based on like work rate, like power, physique. Like I think a lot of intangibles lead themselves.
So do you think that's the fight then next? Instead, neither one of them gets a top 15 guy and they just fight each other?
No, I don't even think that. To be quite honest, like I would honestly. This sounds crazy. I would rather see like Solecki fight Mcdessen.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
I'd rather bring him to the other side, and then I'd rather see Gamrot get a top 15. I think Gamrot's ready. I think Gamrot is like, bro, I'm so high on that man. It's
You're
crazy.
high on Gamrot?
Like when he came to the UFC, I was super high on him. I was a little disappointed. He split decision loss, by the way, in his first loss. Super good fight. Super good fight. And then I even wrote in my notes here, look for Gamrot to be more improved and more aggressive in this bout, because that's typically a trend you see from debut to second fight, is that they start to master the feeling of the octagon in the UFC and the lights and how it works. And he looked like that.
And they realize how fast those 15 minutes goes and how those scorecards and rounds can pile up.
And bro, Scott Holtzman 9 months ago was ranked number 14, I think, in lightweight. So, like, he's already knocking on the door.
All right,
and he whooped the fuck out of Scott Holtzman. No, shout out to Hot Sauce, but shit.
I got 11 through 15 right here for you. So 11 is Lum. That's not going to happen. His sights are set higher. 12, Diego Ferreira. I'm not going to say that's like off the table. 13, Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee probably thinks of himself as probably having his eyes set higher.
Kevin Lee Gamrot would be so much fun. Oh my God,
that would be fun. And then 14 is Ally Quinta, and 15 is Gregor Gillespie.
Give him Quinta.
That's what I thought one of those him or Gillespie.
Gamrot Quinta is good. The reason I wouldn't want to do Gillespie is only because Gillespie is like NCAA decorated wrestler, like super good wrestler, and Gamrot like kind of starts his game from like a wrestling base into his striking. So I don't want to give him someone that neutralizes his wrestling. Well, I'm a Gamrot fan, so I'm giving him a good matchup. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking a little biased now that I realize that.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not mad at it. I think literally all of those would be fun. Whenever these guys are coming up in these super stacked divisions, lightweight, bantamweight, there really is no wrong move to make on the matchmaking side. I mean, we say that and then look at the Jim Miller, Joe Solecki fight. But on paper, that was fire. They gave it their best shot from a matchmaker perspective. They can't make everybody be on their best behavior. They can't make everybody put their best foot forward. All they can do is put them together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm just saying, in these deep divisions, bantamweight, lightweight, these up and comers, these guys knocking on the door of top 15, there's a bunch of directions you can go with.
Oh yeah, and I said something last night, completely as a joke, unrelated, but the quote absolutely is real for the UFC now that I'm thinking about it, which is I was joking. I was I prefer my baptisms by fire instead of water, right? Because we were talking about me making bad decisions, right? So whatever. But the idea still remains true that with the UFC, they don't give you a water baptism. It's all fire. You're either sink or swim. It's tough sledding. I don't know how many different idioms I can use to say it.
Keep going, bro. Keep going. I got to the end of this dab for you to keep rolling off.
Bro, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where you're either ready to play, hay's in the barn. You know what I'm saying? and either the animals are coming or they're not. But the hay's in the barn. It's ready.
Either
or it better
Noah's
be at least.
Fucking the elephants or he's not.
You know what I mean? Rat on a Cheeto. Shout out Coach Nation. What's up, Kenneth? Kenneth's been waiting. Shout out to Kenneth, man, because he started at the beginning of the podcast and we were getting set up. Just waiting on Harrison to say some stupid shit. Well, here we are. You finally found me.
All right. Let's get to this main card, dog. We'll keep it pushing. It's the main card because I texted you right before this fight started, and I was like, man, I hope Mike Perry gets beat up. And you were like, yeah, me too, bro.
It's not even that I want him to get beat up like that, because he is trying to change his life, and shout out to him. He's such a fucking moron. God damn it, dude.
Yeah, and I say that tongue in cheek. I don't want him hurt real bad. My greater point is that Mike Perry makes it hard to be a Mike Perry fan. You know what I'm saying? He does himself no favors, and his fighting style lends himself to getting hit. So saying Mike Perry's going to get beat up, he could get beat up and win the fight because that's how Mike Perry gets down. So, it's not going out on a limb, but I was like, let's see if Mike Perry gets beat up here. But
hey, real fast, while you introduce it, I'm going to go grab just a little more bourbon real fast. Go ahead, though.
No worries, brother. But yeah, so we got Mike Perry. The UFC's, fuck up the that member of our own family that always is, fucking up and, might steal your iPhone charger when he comes over to the house. Or, the guy, the guy that's hard to love. We all got him in our life, but that's Mike Perry. He's had a myriad of mistakes and arrests, and as I said, he makes a missed weight, real bad, and just he's made some questionable choices. But so we got Mike Perry fighting. It's a welterweight fight. Got Mike Perry plus 125, and I think the fact that Mike Perry was a plus 125 just it actually says a lot about how tough and how athletic Mike Perry is. But he's fighting Daniel Rodriguez. So Daniel Rodriguez has looked really great lately, and kind of just does the right things, like accepts last minute fights and wins and puts on good performances and kind of just does the right thing. Kind of stark contrast to a guy like Mike Perry. And Daniel Rodriguez minus 150 favorite fighting at welterweight. I was just pretty much spent the whole time here gone saying how Mike Perry was just we all got that member of our family, you come over and then whenever they leave and you might be missing an iPhone charger, some headphones.
Fucking Mike.
yeah, God damn it. I knew I shouldn't have let him use the bathroom, and found
he is that dude. I mean, he's got an eyebrow tattoo and he says the N-word even though he's 1.4% African based on his DNA test. He is a dude that you just love to hate.
He gets in fights at his local Chili's and shit.
Dude, multiple different times. He slept 3 dudes in a fucking restaurant one night because they touched him. It's unbelievable. The UFC didn't cut him for that.
That's what I'm saying. He's just that guy that
But he reminds me of one song specifically every time I see Mike Perry, I think of this one song, which is if you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough.
That's hilarious because Kenneth, our homie, he's watching. He's made a couple of live comments up. Shout out to homie Kenneth. But Kenneth, he texted me. He was like, man, dumb and tough is a rough combination.
No, it's the only combination, in fact. What do you there's no, you can't not be tough if you're dumb. And if you're tough, then you're probably also going to be dumb.
Oh, man. All right, so round 1, man, Rodriguez looked great. He was landing big shots. He was hurting Perry. Perry, man, he just is the zombie. He just, he can just take shots with the best of them. I think he always walks around in somewhat of a funk. So whenever he's wobbling,
right.
he's like, oh, I know how to perform under these circumstances.
So all right, so I think this is another fight that kind of falls along the Dao and Jung line, where the whole fight is just a dominance by Daniel Rodriguez.
It is. Rodriguez looks so good. We can
So going round by round, I don't think we need to do, but instead because I feel every round was essentially the same, which was that Perry was getting picked apart on the feet. He would try to grapple, and then D-Rod would stop the shot and beat the brakes off of him.
Yeah, and Perry was wearing the damage. He was getting the nose was super busted, big cut. I was actually wondering if the cut was on the platinum tattoo. I was wondering.
No, because it's over this eye, and he got cut on this. Yeah, so other side. But dude, that was a big cut too. I thought the doctor might stop it, but they didn't. Which we will get to the Kevin Holland doctor asking him if he can see 17 times. We'll get to that. Hilarious.
Yeah,
we'll get to it. But I just think the whole UFC doctors and refs thing, it's a fucking joke compared to the way they do it in one. The way they handle it in one with the ref, just red card, nah, it's over. This is it.
Very clear and concise, as opposed to just a lot of gray area going on in the UFC. For sure, a ton of gray area. Maybe probably too much gray area. But yeah, Rodriguez looked so good. And this was probably I assume this is probably the biggest name he's beaten. He's starting to work. He's starting to work his way up. I think he had 3 or 4 wins last year in 2020. He's put on some. He got a performance of the night bonus, either this last fight or the fight before. I forget. We covered it on Beefy Boys, so it's been fairly recent. But he can finish you by sub. And he throws nice kicks. His kicks to the body were so nice.
He clapped Mike Perry with 2 or 3 that hurt me when I heard him.
Heavy
yeah, it
kicks.
was
they're not the fastest, they're not the prettiest, but they're heavy, and he lands them, and he's accurate with them, and he times them well, and he uses them very well. And Mike Perry was, like I said, it was a good opponent for Rodriguez to kind of put on a show because, like I said, Perry's a guy who will let you touch him. It's just part of like how he fights. So like it was a good opponent for him to show himself on the big stage on ABC last night. By the way, I don't know if you watched it on ESPN Plus or ABC, but
I fucked up and watched it on ESPN Plus. I think it would have been better on ABC.
Yeah, I mean it's not all that different, but I did just to give him the ratings or whatever because I think that's
nice.
good for the
I feel
sport.
that.
To get it on up in front of that type of audience on ABC and stuff. Even though
I think as long as they get live views, I think that's what matters. But you're right. Like as far as like getting it to a major platform, like the more eyes that are on the major platform while the event occurs, the more likely they are to rebook it. And this is the second time.
Especially for a guy like Daniel Rodriguez, I'm sure he did a lot for himself last night.
Now, and I will say, like, a quick side note from this, and this might be the only time we ever do this, but, like, shout out to Dana White because the ESPN deal actually got them to ABC because ABC is owned by Disney, same as ESPN, so sister networks. So, like, it essentially works. And the idea that, like,
great for the promotion, great for the sport. Just
right.
Can't argue.
And like, if you can get on ESPN, you can get on ABC. That's how that works. Like, if you can get on Viacom, which they used to be on, you hope to be on CBS, which they could never do.
They were just on Fox. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I want to point out too because I know I can get accused of being generous with my 10-8s. I gave no 10-8s in the Rodriguez Perry fight, but one of the judges did. So for those out there that think I'm too generous,
I gave no 10-8s as well. I scored at 30-27, but I will say that, and honestly, hilarious. Two judges 30-27, one judge 30-26. When Mike Perry heard the 30-26, he literally put his hands up like, what? Like, I didn't get beat that bad. And I was like, bro, you got your ass like whooped all around a cage. Like, if this is ONE FC, it would be like the clearest cut decision of the night.
I think what it was like how bad Perry wore the damage and how much blood. I think that was the result. That's what ended up in
his nose got put into a Z. His face was cut with a 3-inch cut on the side and a mouse.
Deep cut, yeah.
It was
big mouse, yeah. He was beat the fuck up.
Yeah, he was beat like I would love to see what he looks like today. Now, shout out to Mike Perry
because he's tough and he went the distance, and a lot of guys would have found a reason to go down and get finished.
And not only that, but do you recall? I mean, man, even 5 months ago when Mike Perry was talking about auctioning his corner spots, having his pregnant girl in his corner as his corner girl or corner man, like, dude, he was making like all the wrong decisions. He's actually has a fight team now, like a dietitian, a nutritionist. Like he actually gets down to 170 and isn't like he wasn't tweeting like I feel like I'm gonna die and shit like that this time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the last time he fought before this, he was talking about how like he thought he was going to die.
Didn't he miss weight by like 6 pounds or some shit like that last time? I thought
the time before that.
Oh, the time before that. Okay,
and it's just like. He says shit where it's
he looked pretty good physically. He looked
great, which just goes to show you that like if he actually takes the time to like get a legitimate team around him, he could be good. But it's almost like he just doesn't have that personality, man. Like he's a bar fight biker kind of a guy.
I think he's just like the Josh Gordon of the UFC. Like I think we'll always kind of have that what if question of how good he could have been.
You're exactly right, and like,
but also like I'm done holding my breath waiting for Josh Gordon to make a Pro Bowl again. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm kind of over the whole will Mike Perry be the best Mike Perry? Like I kind of don't even care at this point.
Like Kenneth's talking about how he practices spinning kick on mushrooms apparently to try and master the technique. It's like what the fuck, Mike Perry?
Yeah, like this like I don't think he takes it seriously enough, and I think he'll even admit that. Like, he's kind of just cashing checks, and I think he probably...
Kevin Holland admits that, though, too, but we love Kevin Holland.
Yeah, but Kevin Holland's a lot easier to love, in my humble opinion. Maybe other people disagree, but...
the Kevin Holland we got in this card, before we get to it, his attitude was perfect in the fight. Like, that's how he needs to be mentally when he fights.
I agree.
Exactly what he needs to be.
Do you want to talk about Daniel Rodriguez versus potential bottom end top 15 of welterweight, or do you just want to keep it pushing?
No, I say we keep it pushing only because the last time D-Rod got that shot, he got put to sleep. And I think he just needs to work a little bit more.
Good. All right. Perfect. Cool. Good. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. So we got Nina Ansaroff Nunez, Amanda Nunez's wife and mother of her child. She just gave birth to Amanda Nunez's baby not that long ago, and wow, medical science, it's come a long way. And then she's the 5th ranked strawweight fighting Mackenzie Dern, who's the 11th ranked strawweight. And Dern was a plus 110 underdog. Nunez minus 140 favorite. So yeah, we got 5 versus 11. Now Nunez had taken almost I think was it over a year off to have the baby and all that, and so it's been a long time.
Maybe a little more, man.
I think it was like 18 months or something like that. It was
a long time, and like last time she fought, she was Nina Ansaroff, not Nina Nunez.
Yeah,
which I will say is cool to see another Nunez name that's like the same, like it's. For me, I don't know. I'm such a fanboy of Amanda Nunez that I'm like, when I see like a Nunez at 115, I'm like, that's kind of cool.
It makes me like her more, like for real. Like I like Nina Nunez more than Nina Ansaroff. Like I'll admit it. Like,
yeah, for
like
sure. And their relationship seems like really like pure and cool, man. Like I'm happy for them because like they seem like they're really into each other. Like they always talk about each other in their like embeds and like interviews and shit. So like, I'm happy for them, man. Like I think they have like a good family dynamic.
Yeah, they seem like a dope family for sure, 100%, man. But yeah, fighting strawweight, Dern's an up and comer. That's a tough fight to come back to after almost 2 years off. That's a very
super tough. I mean,
but when you're top 5, you're not going to get an easy fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just you don't get easy fights.
Also, I know that I'm going to take shit for this because I always do a little bit on the sides, but like Mackenzie Dern's still very fine, very hot.
What about everybody was tweeting about like they hate how she talks or some shit like that? Like, I don't know.
So she's accused of having a fake Brazilian accent because she didn't grow up in Brazil. So they're like, why do you have that accent? Like you didn't grow up there. Like she apparently she moved when she was like 6 or something.
Oh,
so like
that's enough.
I mean,
6?
She's 20 something. Now you don't think that shit would fade?
Oh, wait, you're saying she moved away when she was 6?
Yeah.
Well, I just learned apparently Marvin Vettori gets accused of that same shit.
That fake Italy shit?
Yeah.
Apparently Paisanos out there in California for fucking ever. Darren Till's out here exposing the man.
Exposing him, yeah, for sure. I'm really bummed that fight didn't go down. As much as I like Holland, but that fight would have been way better.
But I think we're going to get a way better fight out of it now, and we'll get to it. Dude, I'm so pumped to get to this main event because I have some really great ideas about it. But yeah, we're talking about the fake accents.
Let's give Dern her flowers real quick though, because this fight didn't last that long. We got the first round armbar submission by Dern, and Dern is known for her submissions and her armbars. She's tied for most submissions by a woman ever.
Jillian Robertson at 4, right?
Tied with Jillian Robertson at 4, which let's get that record a little higher. I don't know, like that. I'm not trying to hate, but like 4, I hope Dern runs that record up to like 10. You know what I'm saying? I hope she has that kind of career. But yeah.
Shout out to Kenneth. I know he's a big Mackenzie Dern fan. I know he is. He's a big Instagram guy.
Big Instagram guy. But all right. So Dern, we got to be real. Getting a first round finish, whether it be sub or otherwise, getting a first round finish over a top 5 opponent. There's a lot of kind of, if you want to say asterisks, had the baby, 18 months off, but hey. It is what it is. She kept her ranking. She got the first round sub over a top 5 strawweight. She got tied the record for most women's subs. I mean, none of these are small feats, and Mackenzie Dern has really set herself up in a good position.
Now, let me ask you this: she got the takedown 80 seconds into the round. She was obviously the way better grappler. Got to full mount. Put her hips on the side. Got the armbar locked in. Got in the spiderweb position. Got the armbar cranked out in the last 10 seconds and finished it, right? So clearly, like, the grappling, no question, she handled that, no worries. My question to you is, what did you think of her striking in the first 80 seconds? I thought she looked really good, honestly, because Nina Nunez is known for her striking.
Yeah, no, she looked good. And, I mean, it's like anything else. Like all sports have these dynamics where you got to use one thing to get to the other thing, and some fighters use their wrestling to get to their striking. Some fighters like Dern has started to learn to use her striking to get to, I think, her grappling, which is a great way to look at it. Like, football teams will use the run to make the safety come down so they can throw the deep pass.
Play action, right?
In basketball, like back when Dwight Howard was on the Magic and was still really good, and they would surround him with 3-point shooters because the whole inside outside
the post
dynamic
threat pulls people down to him, yeah, so that they can't cover the wings as easily.
Yeah, and all sports kind of have that dynamic, and so I guess maybe besides baseball, but anyway.
No. You're so right, because like in baseball, think about the shift. Whenever a guy that predominantly hits to one side of the field, like they'll literally take the third baseman, put him where the shortstop is, and slide everyone to one side of the field because they know this guy hits this way.
Or offensively, you need guys that get on base a lot in front of your home run hitters so that you knock in extra runs. Like,
OBP is one of the highest measured stats in all of the MLB as far as value.
So what I'm saying is I think Darren is starting to understand that, and I don't think she'll ever be like, Israel Adesanya on the feet, but she's starting to learn how to use her striking to get to where she needs to be grappling. And I don't know, she got the top 5 win. Some of the top, now she's getting into rarefied air but she said her next fight. What I also respect about Mackenzie Darren, she's not pulling like a Colby Covington and like sitting on
demanding a title fight and shit. Because, thank God. She had a good interview.
She said, I just beat top 5, but, I'll fight anybody in the top 10, which is cool. Because if she would have said, I only want top 4 next or a title fight, listen to the top 4 right now. Because we got Carlos Esparza at 4 and Yan Jianan at 3, and they're booked for a fight. So they're fighting already. Then we got Joanna. And then Thug Rose is already booked for the title fight, which is coming up really soon. I think it's the next pay-per-view. So, she would have been waiting out for quite some time, if she wanted to try to wait for that even another top 5 shot or whatever. So I thought that was cool on her part to not do that. We have way too many fighters doing that.
I think she knows what she's doing, first of all, on that note, because, she can't fight any of those girls because they're all slated with the fight, essentially.
Exactly.
So she's like, I just need to stay active and keep getting my name up.
Yeah, which I think is dope, and I think more fighters need to take that approach. But yeah, so Mackenzie Dern, I thought did a lot last night as far as building her ranking, building her brand, building her credibility. I thought last night was a big night. She was one of the big winners last night. I thought.
Well deserved bonus too. She earned that because to submit a top 5 person in one round, and to look good on the feet in her, not her element, and then to get it to her element. Shows a good prowess for her fight style and knowing what she does well and what she needs to improve on, and then also improving because her striking looked good. Yeah,
for sure, man. We'll get to this next fight. This next fight was a lot of fun. We got Sam Alvey coming in, I think was a plus 150, and then Julian Marquez, known for infamously asking Miley Cyrus in a date for his last call out. That's kind of what
he blew it. He blew it.
He blew it. But I'm saying as far as building his brand, he's not even on this main card if he never does that, though.
True.
In my opinion.
I like Julian Marquez only because I'll say, it's our, we, the Beefy boys, we have a tie to him a little bit. A guy I work with knows his brother from touring, bands. His brother's the lead singer of this really sick metal band. For anyone that likes cool. Metal, check out Spine. They're a really sick band. They're really sick.
I think you brought that up a little bit last time, but my fucking weed smoking ass forgot. But yeah.
Well, it just makes me look at Julian Marquez in a different light, right? Because if your brother is lead singer of a metal band, you probably fuck with metal and music the same, right? You'd think at least a little.
Yeah,
I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I'm an only child, so I don't really know. But you know what I mean? But my assumption is that you're in that scene a little bit, which is just cool to me. He's a different kind of a dude.
Yeah.
Altogether,
not just a classic meathead jock. I feel you.
He's not a meathead jock. He's a meathead for sure, but he's not a jock, bro. If he hung out at a high school, he would not be in the jock crew.
Yeah,
he'd be in the skater crew.
I'm kind of not feeling his shtick. I don't know.
I hate that he's WWE when he talks on the mic, dude. I don't know why he does that.
That's what I'm talking about. But let's get into this fight because it was a banger. And you said this got fight of the night, right?
Yeah, which
I kind of wouldn't have given it fight of the night, but it was a bang. Round 1 especially was a banger.
Let me ask you this before we dive in real fast.
Okay. Oh, no problem.
Do you think that Sam Alvey is about to get cut, and that was the Dana Duffel, essentially hey, thank you for all you've done for the UFC, but you're about to get out of here because he moved down divisions, fought like a pretty top, like I would say Julian Marquez is near the top 15 in 185.
Getting
And
there,
like,
getting there. He's on the main card.
and like Sam Alvey's fought like 14 fights, 15 fights in the UFC, like a shit ton. Doesn't have the best record and is on like a big L streak.
Yeah, and he's getting older. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. Dana's kind of been doing that lately, so it kind of a severance pay. If that's the reason, I'm cooler with it being a fight of the night. But yeah, I don't know, because in my opinion, I like fight of the nights to go like X amount of rounds. Like I need, but anyway,
like we already talked about, Bahamondes and Mcdessen was fight of the night, but dude missed weight by 3/4 pounds, and they don't want to give Mcdessen $100,000.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. But just
kind of whack,
performance bonuses then. But anyway, but yeah, the fight at middleweight, which middleweight was kind of the theme of the night, obviously. And round one was a banger. Both guys were trading. Both guys were
Alvey was eating crazy shots, dude.
Alvey's a tough SOB, man. He's the definition of that old, tough, salty vet.
And he actually rocked Marquez near the end of the first.
He did. Yeah, both men were landing clean and very hard. Like, this was not an easy night out for Marquez. This was not, just a cakewalk for Marquez. Alvey gave him, plenty to bargain with.
For sure, man. And, like, I scored the first to Marquez, but like it was just such a war of a first round. It was like entertaining too, because you noted, man, big guys, like they throw big shots, and like I mean, when they're landing and it's big shots and they're surviving and throwing back, it's like, how the fuck can you not be entertained?
And let's keep it a buck here. Neither one of these guys are known for being like fleet of foot or super super movement oriented or like super.
They're just like bruisers.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a fun matchup as far as that goes. Like, I see why they put this on the main card. Plus, you're gonna get probably a weird, entertaining call out from Marquez, which we got, and we'll talk about it because we guess we have to. That's the whole reason he did it.
Yeah. And then, second round.
Yeah, break down the sub for us, bro. Marquez ends up getting the sub in the second round.
Yeah, so Sam Alvey starts getting just fucking rocked again in the second round. Rocked bad. Kind of goes on like a lazy shot. Is getting his like head pounded. You can tell the shots actually make a difference because he kind of loses his like strength while he's in on the shot. Marquez continues to beat the shit out of him for like, dude, it was like 30 seconds of him just like punching.
No, yeah.
Finally, Alvey gives his back in an attempt to get back up, which is wild. And then Marquez and he must have a strong squeeze, man, because they talked about on the broadcast, but didn't really acknowledge the fact that Alvey was reaching to tap. He reached for the hands once and then brought his hands down, and you could see he like literally went to tap, hit once, and was out. Like it took all those 5 to 6 seconds.
And he didn't have his hooks in.
Now, it was close to a bulldog choke, but because he was behind the shoulder, it's technically a rear naked, just no hooks. But the squeeze was so tight.
He was standing. It was dope. But it was one of those submissions where, I don't know. I used to play the UFC video game like when I was little, and like
it was like a gas submission.
Yeah,
like Alvey was so gassed and beat up that you could do whatever you want.
He could
have fucking armbarred him.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Like on the UFC video game, you like beat their life bar all the way down, and then you can really just like throw whatever sub, and it's gonna work. And like that's essentially what happened. So
like I feel like he could have dropped to the back and done a fucking heel hook. Like Sam Alvey didn't even know where he was at that point.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Which is cool. That's not a bad thing. But it wasn't like this like elite like grappling maneuver. It was just like a go ahead and finish him off like type of situation, which is cool. It was very, very good performance by Marquez. He's looking great, man. In the middleweights, not the deepest, kind of like like a quick path for a quick ascension, which they seem to be pushing him. I thought them putting him on this main card was pretty big deal for his career. It's been, like I said, the Miley Cyrus call out got him a ton of clout and hype and all that shit. And Chael Sonnen talked about it like ad nauseum. Forever. He just kept bringing it up like on every video. And so, he got a lot of juice for that Miley Cyrus call out, regardless if it happened, didn't happen. The fact that he did it got him on this main card. And then after this, he got the submission victory. He talks in this weird, like you said, it's like a shtick. It's like a kind of a Colby Covington like character, it's
it's like a happy Colby Covington. Like Colby Covington comes on and he's the villain, which I fucking love. I fucking love. And now you and a lot of people hate me when I say this. Colby Covington, like he's not the most entertaining fighter, like just to be real. But like the amount of shit that he talks and like the way he acts and like the facade he puts on is tremendous, dude. Like
it adds to like a fight. It adds to a fight week.
Like,
it adds to the press conference.
He always makes weight. He always like signs for like. Well, I won't say he's not a company man in the sense he does late minute replacements. But like if he signs a 10-week contract, he shows up. He makes the weight. And he builds the shit out of it. Like he does so much media and press. To the point where apparently before he was fighting Usman, he was like buying those like cheap ass suits. Like he was purposefully buying like Amazon suits so that they looked like shit, so that he looked like more gimmicky, right? And then he would hire the girls that were around him all the time to walk around with him. And like when he was in character, he would like be able to like put his arms around him and shit. But like in his Food Truck Diary with Brendan Schaub, the girls are with him in that Food Truck Diary, and he asks one of them, this is like an off scene, like it's not recorded, they just talk about it like after the fact. He asked one of the girls like, hey, will you like rub my shoulders while like I'm eating this fucking, I think it was like shrimp, like something like that. And he was like, will you like be rubbing my shoulders while I'm doing this, like eating? Like that'll look like good. And she was like, I'm not fucking touching you. And he was like, all right. Like he's all a part. It's all a role. Like none of that is real.
Yeah, no, I know, and that's kind of the approach that Marquez has taken, is what I'm getting at. And like he like talks in this kind of like superhero voice. Oh, I'm Marquez and I'm fucking zany. Like I don't know, and but he called it. It was this. I didn't hate the actual call out. He said he wanted to play like
it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah, he wanted to play pickleball or some shit with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes
and Tyreek Hill.
And then Travis Kelce actually messaged him back. They're gonna do it. They're all from Missouri. Yeah.
Sick. That's actually a fun game too. So that's
they're all in like the Kansas City, Missouri area. So that works out. So that was fun. Like he does these fun calls. He called out the Miley Cyrus. He called out the Travis Kelce. It's obviously working for his brand and his career. Got him on the main card, and most importantly, he's winning.
That's you can't lose and do all this shit. So.
Exactly. And so it's like I said, it's not my favorite like approach or shtick, but the fact that he is like working on his brand and doing something, I do respect, and like it is paying dividends for his career. And he's a middleweight to watch, man. He's a middleweight to watch. He keeps getting these W's, he's gonna have to get some respect on his name. But we'll keep it pushing, man.
They're gonna give him someone dangerous for his next fight. I can feel it. I just have this weird gut feeling like he's going to get someone that's like pretty fucking dangerous at 185 next.
See how real he is. See how real he is for sure. But next, man, we got some featherweights, bro. We got Arnold
Co-main.
Allen. Co-main. Arnold Allen, number 10th ranked featherweight, plus 125 underdog, coming in at 16-1, fighting Sadiq Yusuf coming in at 11-1. 11th ranked, so we got 10 versus 11. Sadiq Yusuf was the minus 150 favorite. So both of these guys only had one L on their record. Both of these guys are hot shot ranked, top 10, verge of top 10, up and comers.
Super Sadiq.
Both of them pretty young. And I thought it was a really fun matchup. I thought this was a huge spot for their career. The fact that they got the co-main on this card, pretty big for them, and they put on a good fight.
Have you been on like Twitter's like Spaces? Do you know what that is? Have you heard about those?
Isn't that like their version of Clubhouse like type of situation?
Essentially, yeah. Like someone can come on and like they host a room and like you can join it, and then they're like on the mic and they can let you talk if they choose or whatever. But like Ariel Helwani did one in between Marquez and Allen and was just like talking to people, like asking what they thought about it and shit. And he was talking about how both these guys are like really like undersold for how good they are at 145. And he was like, he expects one of these guys to be like a top 5 depending on who wins. So they got me even more hyped for this fight.
This was definitely like a fork in the road fight. Like, whoever won this fight, was going to have full, backing and support of the UFC moving forward.
Yeah.
So the fact,
go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, like I was texting you. I think it was either you or Kenneth, but like Sadiq goes on Shade 45 in the afternoon show
Yeah.
a good amount of times, and like he'll just be chilling with them, like in the Sirius XM, like I guess studio, like fucking chopping it up. Like he's super chill.
Yeah, oh, that's cool, man. I'm gonna have to check out, see what he sounds like. But man, yeah. So round one, man. I don't know. I thought Allen looked really good, man. Yusuf came out.
Arnold Allen looked amazing last night.
Yeah,
Huge. My stock went so high on him last night.
like the way Yusuf was fighting, he was essentially gonna have to get the knockout, and Allen was fighting so smart that he wasn't gonna allow that to happen. I thought that was like if I had to sum up this fight into one sentence, that would be the sentence that I'd choose.
You know what jumped off the page to me about this was that Sadiq was like the faster and maybe more physically gifted guy, but Arnold Allen's technique actually was like what granted him the passage to victory here, because he actually was able to just like technically beat Sadiq by like getting into positions that favored his like style of fight. Like it was, I was really impressed. I was really impressed.
And Allen wasn't throwing big bombs. It was kind of like Israel Adesanya always talks about, like accuracy and timing over power and strength. And that was on full display because Yusuf was probably the stronger, more athletic guy. But Allen actually dropped Yusuf in round one with, I think it was just a straight shot. But it was just the timing and the accuracy hit him real hard, straight down the pipe. It was a right
left. Yeah, nice like straight left, yeah.
And had Yusuf hurt. I thought for a second that he was going to get finished. But credit to Yusuf.
Me too.
He got his faculties together. He got his, he cleared the clouds in his head, and he fought all the remainder of the fight. This fight went the distance. And I always respect the fighter that manages to go a distance after getting hurt bad in round one.
Honestly, Mike Perry and Sadiq put their cards up for chin of the year category. Like Mike Perry's definitely in consideration after that ass whooping. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then Sadiq, because not only did he eat that in the second, so 10-9 Allen is what I scored the first round. Did you score it for sure?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So second round, Sadiq eats a massive head kick.
Massive. Yeah.
And still stayed on his feet.
I'll say, though, that like everybody was – and I know whenever it's a big, powerful head kick, like a hand doesn't do that much. But he did block it. Like everybody was acting like, oh, I don't know how he survived that. I'm like, oh, well, I know how he survived it because he
his arm at the initial force, but like the shin's still connected to the side of his head.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like that's why he was able to keep fighting. Everybody's like, oh, I don't know how he ate that. I'm like, oh, I do it. Like his glove was like right there. Like don't get me wrong, it landed and it was impactful and it had him hurt. But that was the difference between him just being out cold Kasangane style and being able to finish the fight.
But if I just like swung like a bat at you and you like blocked it with your arm, but like still hit you on the head, like that's not like gonna feel good.
Oh no, it's not good. No, it's not gonna be good. But if you give me the option, hand or no hand, that's all. That's my point. Like it wasn't a perfectly flush, clean shot. But the whole broadcast, nobody even mentioned it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. The broadcast was kind of dick riding Arnold Allen by the end of the second round.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say I actually scored so easy once again 10-9 to Arnold Allen second round.
Had him hurt. I don't want to understate how bad the kick had him hurt. And I'm not saying that a glove blocked the kick, that it didn't hurt him. I'm just saying like that's what separated it from being like a knockout.
No, yeah, for sure. But like what I thought was like another like side story of the fight was like Sadiq had his best round in the third round. Like I thought he won the third round.
Well, and I thought before the head kick, Sadiq
was looking
really
good too.
Good in two. Yeah, before that head kick, he was looking really good in two and landed some shots.
Honestly, if he doesn't get caught with those two shots, like the left and the head kick, maybe he wins that fight. Like I don't know.
No,
but I'm
that
just saying,
fight
like,
boiled
without
down
those two
to those
shots
two
landing.
shots. No, I think that's a very valid point. I think that fight really can be summed up in those two shots. Like the in-between spaces that weren't after following one of those big shots, those in-between spaces, Sadiq looked really good. And I know that's ifs and nuts or cherries and butts, like don't get rocked. But I'm just saying like Sadiq looked good, but up until those points where he got rocked.
So let me ask you this: like, the judges agreed with us. Like, it sounds like you scored at 29-28, like I did for an old Alan.
I actually gave round 3 to Allen, but like I didn't really have much of a leg to stand on. Like I'm not mad at all. Like giving it to
Okay.
City. Like yeah.
No,
I mean,
it was close. Like I'm not even mad at that.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is like if you went from the one perspective, do you think there's any question about how you score this fight?
No.
Right.
If like ONE FC, they score the card as a whole, not round by round. 100% Allen wins, like easily. Like don't even have to like think hard on it. That's what I like about everything in ONE FC. It seems to remove like how like if we did like a word count on this podcast and how many times I've said the words murky or gray area, like I say those words a lot.
Or so close, I'm not mad at how you scored it, is I feel like another way that we nicely approach it in some ways.
Yeah,
but
or coin flip, we say that a lot. And what
right, but like in all honesty, if you score it as a whole, we don't even have to say all that. Like we can just continue to watch.
Everything about ONE FC has like black and white. Like there's not a lot of gray area. It's either this or it's that. And it just kind of clarifies things for me. Like the UFC kind of takes the NFL approach where it's like, I've been watching the NFL for 20 years, and I can't tell you what a catch is. Exactly. Played the game my whole life, and I don't know what a fucking catch is. And I feel like the UFC's taking that, like, murky gray area approach as, like, the ONE FC is just very, like I feel like cut and dry, like this or that. Like, I don't know. I really do like that about their approach. Go check out episode Dreadful Talk 43. And
43, yes, sir.
Talk all about our first ONE FC experience. But, man, all right, so Allen looked great. He actually cashes as a plus 125 underdog, and he was the number 10th ranked fighter. He beat the number 11th ranked fighter. I got 6 through 9 featherweights. Let's do this real quick and see if you like any of these matchups or if you just think he should keep fighting like lower end.
No, yeah, I'm interested. I'm very interested in this because I think he deserves someone a little higher. I think his skill set, both these guys, either one of them, like off the win, like I think deserves like a, yeah, for sure. So yeah, give me a list.
All right, so 6 is Cater, and ordinarily I would say Cater's too big of a name, but coming off of that historic ass whooping, like I could see the UFC like
I forgot how deep this division is. Oh my God, Cater 6.
And I'm not saying Cater's my pick. I'm just saying like, I can see the UFC kind of not throwing him a bone, but like if you gave him Allen after Holloway, I don't think he'd be that mad. You know what I'm saying? But
Ken is saying we have ONE FC boners all episode, but like they put on a great show. Ken, I know you watched it, motherfucker. You put us in your story, like countdown to ONE FC on TNT. Like
ONE FC's our side chick for sure.
Yeah, like
baddie, young baddie side chick.
A baddie. Like I'm spending money on dinners, but
all right. So number 7 is Josh Emmett. Is 50K Ige, and 9 is Jeremy Stephens. Who Jeremy Stephens is booked. Because Jeremy Stephens, I think, would be the obvious. He's 9, Allen's 10, but Jeremy Stephens
7?
is booked. 7 is Emmett, Josh Emmett.
I love that. Josh Emmett. I fucking love that fight. Holy shit!
I'm not mad at it. Yeah, Dan Ige's been getting bigger names lately. I don't think they would go in that direction.
Did you by chance get the top 5 of 145?
I didn't. Right.
I mean, we know who it is though, right? Because it's Ortega, Holloway,
Zombie.
Zombie. Ortega, Holloway, Zombie, Zabit, and
is Font? If Font might be 5, is Font?
No, he's 30. He's 35.
35. Okay.
But either way, we're missing one guy. But point being, like, we pretty much know who the 45ers are at the top.
Yeah.
But all those guys I just named are fucking assassins.
Oh yeah. And Arnold is like, you got to be careful what you wish for in featherweight because I mean, you're top 10. You start getting up there into the hell, even the Iges and the Caters. That's tough nights out. So yeah, I wouldn't even mind if he fought a few more like top 15 guys. Just I don't know. Let I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. But like I think both these guys, like especially with that record and like 10 versus 11, I think this was a matchup to see who gets to jump forward, not see who gets to fight backwards.
You're right, man. He's got some. Either way, though, he's got some tough nights on the horizon, man. Let's get to this main event. It's time for Vettori Holland. As we all know, this was supposed to be Vettori 2. Till what did he break his collarbone?
Broke his
Separated
collarbone.
shoulder, something
Broke
like
his
that.
collarbone, which. Sorry to cut you off on that. I'll let you get back to it. But I just wanted to know, hilarious that Marvin Vettori was saying, I think that's fake. He just pulled out of the fight because he was scared. Dude, the social media war these two guys had was so fucking great.
Know.
Like, I wish that was the fight.
I
wish that was the fight.
I like Kevin Holland fights probably more than most people at this point. But like,
me too.
Like to say I wouldn't rather have Till and this was like a total like plan B, like obvious plan. Like this wouldn't have been this wouldn't have had a card built around it. I'll put it that way. Yeah, Vettori, and like I said, I this is why I don't bet on fights that like I have like fandom involved in, because coming into this fight, I thought Marvin Vettori at minus 335 was like way too big of a number. I was like, Kevin Holland, that might be a good number to get him at. But
you had texted me and said, should we bet on Holland? And I was like, no, like I think Vettori wins. But I mean, Vettori he went to split decision with Izzy. Like he is the most underrated 185er out there, hands down. Him or Cannonier, like they battle for that spot.
I low key, I thought about it, and like, Holland had just the last words we heard from Holland, the last words we heard out of his mouth was that he was going to go down to 170, and so
and work on his grappling at AKA with DC.
To go, and he called out Bilal Muhammad, a much smaller man than Marvin Vettori. So to go from that mindset to Marvin Vettori is literally one of the bigger, stronger middleweights in the whole division. Like that's his thing, is being a big, strong guy.
A bully. He's a bully.
And so I just, the more and more I thought about it, like that was my fandom. Like that was my heart, not my brain. Like I wanted Kevin Holland to do well in this fight, especially after the shit show that just happened when he fought Brunson. I wanted Kevin Holland to do good, but it's a god-awful matchup. God-awful.
Now, it's a god-awful matchup, and unfortunately, like, spoiler alert, the fight goes the same way as the Brunson fight, but Kevin Holland looked entirely different in this fight versus the Brunson fight. Yeah, and that's what's important for him moving forward from this fight.
Yes, he was very focused. He came in like war ready. He didn't come in to play grab ass and dick.
Not talking a whole bunch of shit the entirety of the fight. Listening in his corner.
Business trip. Like, which is what we all wanted after the shit show at the Brunson fight. He was too loose, didn't take it serious enough. I think we can all agree on that. I loved seeing him more serious, more business approach, and I thought he was going to need that type of attitude. I was hoping that. But attitude don't win you fights. You know what I'm saying? And attitude doesn't get your hand raised. But I did like his mental approach. Marvin Vettori was ranked 6th before this fight. Holland was ranked 10th. So it wasn't like a huge discrepancy there. But I did think it was a horrible matchup for Holland when I was actually using my brain and not my Holland fandom.
Which, shout out to him, though, for the, just taking it on 7 days' notice, whatever it was. # call Big Mouth.
Yeah, call Big Mouth, short notice master. Now let me ask you, bro. Am I a fanboy for giving round 1 to Holland? Like,
no, you're not a fanboy. I wrote super close round. I thought it was a super great escape from Kevin Holland from the bottom initially from the first takedown. But I did think that Vettori had enough time spent controlling the takedown to win because I thought they were pretty much even on the feet. So I gave it to Vettori, but it's not a round that I'm like upset that you go either way on.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm clearly a little biased, and I was like wanting to like say good things about Holland, and I don't think none of the judges agreed with me, so I'm probably being a fanboy. But I did give round 1 to Holland. I'll give it a little asterisk, a little fanboy bonus point. But I thought Holland he landed a bunch of gorgeous kicks. And he did stuff, I think, the first 2 takedown attempts. So that made me really happy after that, like, kind of got that Brunson flavor out of my mouth. He stuffed those first couple. He was able to get up from that one. I was like, okay, like, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I was feeling pretty good about it, even though it wasn't, like, dominant. Like, and there was a couple of those straight shots that Vettori did not like. Every round he tagged Vettori with some shots Vettori didn't like, and then Vettori would immediately get the takedown because he didn't like those shots. More than you could say in the Brunson fight. In the Brunson fight, he wasn't even getting that far. So like,
Brunson didn't even play that game with him. Like Vettori was, but that's like the bully versus like Brunson the veteran. Like
Yeah,
Brunson, the veteran's like, I know how to beat you. Vettori's like, I want to like try and like fuck you up, and then it's like, ouch, you're hurting me. All right, I'm gonna win
like if this was a kickboxing or Muay Thai fight, like Holland wins.
for sure.
Vittori did
He'd
not want to throw
he'd be a
hands.
sick kickboxer. He'd be a sick kickboxer because
Or
he's so
Muay
long
Thai.
and shit.
I think his elbows and knees are
Yeah,
sick.
yeah.
But yeah.
No, he
So
did get cut open pretty bad, and was it second or third round? I might be jumping ahead, but I thought it was second round.
I think it was at the very end of the first round when Vittori was getting that nasty ground and pound.
Was that what it was? Because he got dude.
It was early on. It was very early on.
Yeah,
It was either
into the first or into the second.
Yeah, I forget. I honestly, I should have. I don't know why I didn't like wrote that down.
I didn't write it down either. But reason being, I just kind of got like drawn into the fight of like.
Yes.
I felt like I was watching like a replay of like the Brunson fight. And
I was having like helicopter flashbacks, like
like in my brain, I was like, I don't even need to take notes. Like I know exactly how this is. Like I already know what this is.
Once Vettori figured out, but I don't want to.
Holland was more active off of his back. Like he was trying to get up. He was trying to get away. He had some good sweeps.
He was trying to get up. He
got up a few times.
Like,
he just doesn't know how to defend the takedown.
He made Vettori work for those takedowns way harder than Brunson had to work. And I don't know if Brunson's that much better of a wrestler or if Holland did make a few little adjustments. I'll say, though, when Vettori got his hands on Holland, when he fully got his hands on it, it reminded me of whenever Blachowicz was able to really get his hands on
Izzy.
On Asanya. It looked like Holland was a welterweight fighting up. Like it really did, he essentially is. He essentially is. He walks around at 182. Like that's a welterweight.
Or to be honest, like at 205, if you can recall any of DC's fights, like when he got his hands on guys like against the cage at 205, they were going for a fucking ride. Like they were going to go above his head and get dropped on their head. Like DC was a monster at 205.
Vettori is so strong that like Holland, like it did have shades of the Brunson fight, but I feel like to just copy and paste our analysis from the Brunson fight would be a disservice to Holland. Like I said, I'm obviously a big Holland guy, so I'm looking for positive.
He made improvements. He just didn't make the core. But there's like, see, he made improvements and I guess it's not fair because he hasn't had any time at all. But the improvements he made were in the game that he already like possesses, right? Like he still was getting taken down at will. Like Vettori set a record for most takedowns in a fight at middleweight with like 12.
And I sound like an apologist for even sticking up, but I just thought the numbers don't support this claim. I thought Holland made it a little harder. Oh,
I mean, yes and no, right? Because Vettori was 11 of 17 on his takedown attempts. Like that's still like a 70% success rate.
I know. Like that's what I'm saying. I know, but I just think I don't think it was as technique based as the first one. Like the first one, when I say the first one, I mean the Brunson fight. In the Brunson fight, he just accepted the position way more than he accepted the position in this fight. And I thought
I'll agree with that. He did not accept positions in this fight. Like he actually tried to fight out of positions.
And I thought Vettori's takedowns were more strength based. Like I said, kind of like Blachowicz and Izzy, just the bigger, stronger man than they were Brunson, like actual wrestling takedown. Like Holland just didn't have takedown defense. Like it just looked different on the eye.
Let me just say, as like a former like wrestler, right, and someone that appreciates and still watches grappling.
Yes,
I'm just saying on the level of every takedown Marvin Vettori got was not a shot. Or like him getting a leg, or him like getting a pass by and a shrug. Every single takedown was him locking his hands and essentially dragging Holland to the ground, stepping out to the side, switching sides, and just redirecting the force, right?
Yes.
That's like, those are elementary takedowns. Like those are takedowns that like anyone that's proficient in wrestling, you'll never get those. You'll never get those. Like even DC in the broadcast was essentially saying like, I can't believe that he can't defend this takedown. Like he was saying it in a way nicer way, but the meaning of that is
this though. No, I remember that. I remember that. Let me ask you this though. See, that's what I was describing as like size takedowns. Like, do you think those takedowns even work against if Vettori's fighting a guy his own size? Like,
I don't think they work against Paulo Costa. I don't think they work against Izzy. I don't think they work against Robert Whitaker. I don't think they work against Kelvin Gastelum.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, and Holland's wrestling clearly needs work. His takedown defense clearly needs work. I thought on the eyes it looked better than the Brunson fight, and that's like I'm not going to take it any further. I'm not.
Here's all I'm saying is like when someone gets their hands locked around your body, your response can never be to try and stand up and hit their head. You know why it can't be that? Because you've pushed your hips toward them, which is exactly what they want to take you down by standing up erect. When you try to suck your hips backwards and you instead try to slide your arms in between their body and yours, all of a sudden you have something defending. And also, if you get your arm under any part of their arms, you can hold them up so they can't slide down on your legs. Like it's the most basic shit on earth.
Okay.
Like I've seen dudes in bars that just instinctively defend takedowns that way. Like Kevin Holland it's just not his thing, which is all good, but he has to learn how to do it.
I think the Jacare knockout may have ended up being like we always say, it's like a curse and a blessing in disguise. Like
for sure,
because he knocked him off essentially off his back, and now he like whenever he's like on his back or going to his back, he's like doesn't do the fundamental things, and he thinks he can pull a rabbit out of a hat, you know, and yeah, I think all that can be applied. And we're getting into all this stuff because round one was the only close round. Rounds 2 through 5
they just got progressively worse.
Repeat. Yeah, rinse and repeat, copy and paste, very Brunson-esque. I'm not trying to undersell Vettori's dominance. Vettori was essentially dominant bell to bell. He looked great. He looked like a minus 335 favorite. He did. He looked every bit the part.
Did you give a 10-8 on any of the rounds?
No.
I actually didn't. All the judges did. Every single judge did. But I disagreed. I thought they were all 10-9s.
Yeah, I guess you could. I guess like whatever round it
was.
Round
4. I think round 4.
Or yeah. Like I said,
four. He like took him down instantly, and then just like actually ground and pounded him. Like that round 4 was the round where Vettori actually started to like land like legit ground and pound. Like I know he cut him. Early on, but like.
Vettori's ground and pound was much more entertaining than like Brunson's. Like he was way more active than Brunson. Like Vettori, he's a monster. He really is a monster. And that's another thing. Like I'll say Vettori's a better fighter than Brunson. So
yeah, for sure.
So like I mean that's why I'm also I guess maybe factoring that in against Holland's performance. Like I think like I don't know, but like I mean Vettori's an absolute monster. And he proved that. He looked dominant.
Let me ask you this. Like, I know we're big Kevin Holland fans, but I don't think Kevin Holland is the guy that deserves the shine this episode. I'm just going to be just flat out with it. But what I'm trying to shift it.
I'm trying to shift it over to Vettori.
Right. Well, but that's what I was going to say is, like, rather than talking about what's next for Kevin Holland, I think we should talk about what's next for Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a title shot's next for him. Do you think I'm wrong in saying that? I think he needs one more. I think he needs one more.
No, there's some very, very loose MMA math if you like that I think is really the only argument for Vettori getting a title shot. The loose MMA math, in my opinion, is that Izzy, the only person Izzy has really mentioned that that wanted to fight was Darren Till. Correct?
Yeah.
That's
well, he said he said he wanted the winner of Vettori Till. If it was Till, it was guaranteed Till. If it was Vettori, he was like, if you win impressively, we'll talk about it. Yeah, like, he doesn't like Marvin Vettori.
You had to boil all that down, though. It's Till's the guy he would like to fight next for the middleweight title. Essentially, if you had to pick one, Till is as the inside lane, the inside track.
But he broke his collarbone. So we're talking at least 10 to 12 weeks that he's out before he can actually be in fight shape.
This isn't my opinion. This is the loose Vettori math. Like, I'm just kind of laying out that argument.
Oh, yeah, no.
So Till Vettori winner was going to potentially get Izzy's attention. Well, Vettori still showed up and Vettori still won. That's where Vettori's head's at when he says, I deserve a title fight. Like, Izzy said the winner of tonight's fight. And Izzy's not thinking that way. Izzy's like, oh, you beat Kevin Holland. We already know what Izzy thinks of Kevin Holland. And he's kind of getting proven right. In all fairness. And And so I know Izzy doesn't view it that way. I don't view it that way. I'm just saying, like when I said there's very loose MMA math that leads to a Vettori title fight, and I literally say loose, like that's the thinking. Like Vettori's like, oh well, I showed up, I won. The winner of tonight's fight had a chance to get a title fight. Like it's so facto. Like I that's not how I look at it. Really sucked because a collarbone injury, I mean, that's not like short. Like that we're talking like 6 to 9 weeks for the bone to heal, not for
Right.
the muscles to recover around it and to get into fight shape. And
that's why I said 10 to 12 weeks for him to even like be like talking about like, yeah, I'm close. Like probably we're talking 16 weeks for him to be at a fight, but like 10 to 12 for him to start training for a fight.
And I'm pretty sure I got this right. And coming up in like 2 weeks or a week or two, we got Whittaker Gastelum, correct?
Next week, April 17th.
Next week, we got Whittaker Gastelum. So, has Izzy already fought Whittaker twice? I know he's fought him once.
He's fought Whittaker once, and he's fought Gastelum once. Gastelum was one of my favorite fights of all time.
Yeah, they went
straight out war.
Yeah,
war. Like if you hear Izzy talk about it on Jorgen's podcast, one of the best fights of all time, hands down.
So I mean that fight, like I said, I think this Till Vettori, I mean it kind of not really fair to Vettori. He showed up, he did his part, but I think Till backing out kind of removed Vettori from the conversation. If it's me, if I'm Mick Maynard, if I'm Sean Shelby, and so I immediately looked to this Gastelum Whittaker fight. And because Whittaker's already ranked 1, right? So I mean,
yes.
if Whittaker wins, and especially if Whittaker wins by knockout or like a very impressive fashion,
even if he just barely skates by, I think Whittaker's. I'll tell you. Go ahead. Let me know what you think because I have it all laid out.
Okay, cool. Because he has the number 1, but. So it gets real interesting what I'm getting at. Yeah, because I think if Whittaker wins, it's chalk, right? It's just obvious. We go chalk. If he's the number 1 contender, he won his main event fight. I don't think that's Izzy's choice, but I think it's just the obvious fight to make. Now, if Gastelum wins is where things get really interesting because Gastelum's 8, but he would have beaten 1. And Gastelum gave Izzy his toughest fight ever.
And Izzy has already said he would give Gastelum a second run back if he could prove he deserved it.
Now I know that if Gastelum jumps Vettori, Angry Marvin's probably going to break some drywall. But I'm not mad at it. If Gastelum can go out and beat Whittaker, I'm not mad at that title shot. But I'm kind of just throwing shit against the wall, see if it sticks. It sounds like you've thought about this more than me. Like you have. Let me hear you. I've gone on long enough.
So immediately following the conclusion of this fight, I laid it all out in my head. I laid it all out, right? Here's what it is. Till, it's going to take a while. Cannonier has no fight booked. Book him for a fight in July, right? I bet Till can fight by July, right? Which is going to be International Fight Week. It's going to be a huge card. Put Till as like the main event, maybe. Co-main.
Is Till 2 right now? Is Till 2?
3.
Okay.
And Cannonier's 4. Okay. So give us a 3-4 matchup, whatever.
I like that.
Give the winner of Gastelum Whittaker the title shot because it's a rematch, and both those guys, like Whittaker, obviously will be deserving if he wins. Like you can't deny that he deserves it. And Gastelum, on the other hand, had such a fucking epic war with Izzy that it would be a good test for Izzy to see if Izzy has actually gotten better or if Gastelum's gotten better, kind of to see where both guys have gone since that fight.
Yeah, and Whittaker beat Till. That's how he got that number 1 contender spot, right?
Yes. Is that right? No, Whittaker beat Cannonier. But point being that you still have Paulo Costa in the mix. He's unbooked. No one's fighting this guy. He's number 2. Marvin Vettori.
He keeps pulling out of fights. It was supposed to be because it was supposed to be. Wasn't it supposed to be Whittaker Costa, and then Costa pulled out, and that's how we even got Whittaker Gastelum to begin with. Gastelum was a fill-in.
Yeah, but Costa got COVID and then was saying he had like lasting effects from it and said he like couldn't like train effectively. So I'm saying if he's right to fight, because he keeps talking about I want to fight Izzy again, blah blah blah. Let Marvin the fucking bully Italian Dream fight Paulo Costa. How fun is that fight? Two literal meathead morons meeting in the center of the cage at 185. That fight's fucking awesome. Now,
what's
the reason
the
I want that
over-under
fight,
on the combined IQ points in that fight?
fucking over under 160, because they're both gonna scare. They're both gonna score retarded. Now, the thing I'm saying though is that you can, so with Gastelum fighting Whitaker this next weekend, right?
Yeah.
And Vettori already said, I want to come sit and watch that fight with Dana because he's teammates with Gastelum, I guess.
Okay.
I didn't know that. But he wants to come watch that. I think Gastelum gets a title shot over Vettori if he beats the number one guy, right?
Me too.
And also for the story that's there.
Me
but
too.
What's cool about that is like you book that fight. If Gastelum doesn't take a shit ton of damage, which no guarantees, we'll see. That's going to be like that's going to be the pending factor. Okay. But if Gastelum doesn't take a shit ton of damage, you book him and Izzy, or if Whitaker doesn't take a shit ton of damage, you book him and Izzy, winner of that fight, right? You book Vettori Costa right after that.
Yeah.
And then you have Till Cannonier, and then whoever of those four puts on the best performance, that's who your next contender is.
I like that. I like that scenario a lot. You brought in Cannonier, which I was leaving him out of the equation. Cannonier's a big win away. You know, I feel like people are a little daubered down on him.
He had a good fight with Whitaker. Like, it wasn't that bad of a fight.
Yeah, and a loss to Whitaker, like Whitaker's fucking elite as shit. So, you know what I mean? It's hard to hold that against him too much. Most of these guys that we mentioned lose to Whitaker. I love the Costa Vettori matchup just because you're right. Two meatheads, two strong guys, two big guys. I think I like your scenario a lot because I mean we both agree on if Gastelum wins though, because that's going to be, I think, controversial, not to real fight fans, but to like I mean, I know we call me Rankings McGee, but like people that literally think that like rankings just like override everything, because the 8 people are going to be like, oh, you go from 8 in one fight, you get a title shot. Like some people out there are going to have a problem with it. I don't. Like I said, largely due to their history and largely due to you beat the number one contender. And like I said, now if Till would have not got hurt and beat Vettori, do you still give Gastelum? You don't give Gastelum a shot then. You give
No. If Till had fought and beat Vettori, Till fights Adesanya next, no questions asked. I think it would already be being worked on today, right now.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. No,
only because Izzy wants Till. Like, that's what the champion wants. But like, now that we're in this position where it's like we can't give you what you want because he's hurt. Like, we just gotta like do what's best for marketing and business, and to sell a rematch of a guy like Whitaker, New Zealand, Australia market, where they sold out a fucking stadium of 60,000 when they fought the first time. And Whitaker honestly landed good shots and just barely, if you go back and watch the knockout, he's throwing a fucking right hand too. He just barely gets beat to the punch. Like, it's not like people that think that fight was like not close. You're tripping. Like, go back and watch it. Whitaker's he's a dangerous man. And then with Costa needs a fight that's not Izzy, and he needs to shut the fuck up about getting a fight that's because all he wants is he's so stupid. So give him a musclehead moron that like will get in his face and distract him. That'll talk all the shit on earth like Marvin Vettori. I just think like the marketing, sales, promotion, and like the rankings, all of it, like I think all the way that I have it envisioned works out. Now you're asking who's left out. Derek Brunson at 4, Jack Hermanson back there at like 6 or 7. Let them fight each other.
Yeah,
neither one of them deserves a title shot.
Yeah. No,
so let them fight in the meantime.
And then hopefully Holland drops down to 170. I think Chimaev is firmly going in the 170 direction. 180. No, I think Vettori and Costa. I think Costa could win that because like those same punches that Holland landed, like if those punches are thrown by Costa, that's maybe night over.
And I'm saying that's why it's going to be such a good fight. So I would love to get that one cracking. Like I would love. That was my first thought when I watched that fight. Was like, let me see him fight Costa. Let me see him fight Costa.
I really like that, man. I really like that. Like I said, this card would have been a lot more fun and probably a lot more fun to talk about if it would have been Till Vettori. I think Till wins that.
Me too.
Especially, like I said, the shots that Holland landed, if those are Till seeing those
But
openings,
Vettori's a fucking monster. Like we this wasn't the fight to show us what the damage he can take, but like if you've watched some of his other fights, he's a fucking tank.
well,
like,
he's a game. He's a Frankenstein. He's a tank.
he's
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
sure.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
He's a
He can
muscle
take
bound
damage.
moron.
Yeah, he can take damage. I love the thought of him and Costa. But
They're
man,
both just meatheads. I love it. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be so much fun, man. And so yeah, next week we got more middleweights. Middleweight April is the theme of the month. We got because like I said, we got Whitaker versus Gastelum next week. I'm looking forward to it. We'll be breaking it down here on Beefy Boys Breakdown. This was episode 42 of Beefy Boys Breakdown, and fight night, Holland Vettori. Vettori gets the win and sets himself real nice. Whatever's next for Vettori, it's definitely going to be a step up and a step in the right direction. And he set himself up real nice moving forward in the middleweight division. Thanks so much, bro. This was another good episode.
Always, bro. Always. Episode 42. Dreadful Talk Dom, Harrison _Madden. Follow and like on Twitter, baby. IG.
Let's get it.